In her previous life, Gu Qingji was the principal consort of Prince Xin, but she had to watch helplessly as Prince Xin executed the entire Gu family. Suddenly, Changxian rushed in with a grim expression and announced, "At noon today, I will personally supervise the execution of the 69 members of your Gu family." The only thing she could do at this moment. A trickle of blood suddenly flowed from Qingji's mouth. If there's anyone to blame, it's me, Gu Qingji, for having long been indifferent to romantic love. Now I, Gu Qingji, can only kill our child with my own hands. Seeing this, Changqian panicked and reached for her. To atone to the Gu family, to follow the Gu family to the underworld. He embraced Qingji's body in agony and cried out, "Qing Qing." But heavens did not follow her wish, and she was reborn once again. Changqian held her and reproached, "Gu Qingji, you are so cruel. You are too cruel to me." After that rebirth, Qingji woke up in a different place, thinking blankly, how can I be here? She had now become County Princess Zhaoa, Shan Shihe, a person of unparalleled noble status. On the way to the capital, a man who looked very much like that person appeared, and she accidentally bumped into him. Qingji was momentarily stunned, exclaiming inwardly, "Xiao Changqian, is this the husband she chose? Shen Yushan? If I could choose from any of the imperial family sons, I would naturally choose a short-lived husband." Qingji discussed her intentions with Mo Yuan. The imperial family is powerful. They won't let the aristocratic clans grow strong. The annihilation of the Gu family is a lesson from the past. To protect the Shun family, I must ascend to the position of empress. Instead of betting on which prince will inherit the throne, it's better to directly have a son with the short-lived crown prince and then support him to the throne. However, it seems there's something not quite right about this short-lived crown prince. Hua Yong peeled off a face mask and said with amusement, "You could even see through this? You truly have a discerning eye. These layers of disguise are a bit much." And what was all that about being short-lived? About getting rid of the father to keep the son? It turns out this guy was just pretending to be sick. In a pavilion, Changqian turned to look at the person beside him and asked softly, "Do you hate me?" Qingji didn't answer, just calmly drawing a line with the agarwood incense. Seeing her indifference, he clenched his fists in anger. He couldn't hold back and forcefully pulled open the curtain. Changqian wore a scowling expression, yet there was also a hint of anticipation as he asked again, "Gu Qingji, do you hate me?" Qingji looked up and replied in a cold tone, "Why would I hate you?" Seeing this, Changqian angrily slammed his hand on the table. He announced grimly, "It is at the hour of Wu today. I will personally behead the 69 members of your Gu family, including your nephew who is not yet 3 years old." Her expression remained unchanged. Changqian's face darkened, and he couldn't help but question her. "Gu Qingji, you are heartless. Your blood has run cold. In the 3 years we've been married, I favored other women, and you weren't jealous. I took your cousin, and you didn't cry. Today, my royal father issued an edict ordering me to personally execute and annihilate your family. And you don't even hate me." Qingji lit the agarwood incense until the smoke rose, waiting for it to form a long trail. Only then did she speak. "Your Highness, is that all? Born into the Gu family, when the Gu family's power was overwhelming, I enjoyed glory and wealth. Now that the Gu family has fallen, we must naturally bear the price of decline." Qingji looked toward Changqian with a somewhat regretful gaze. She held her head high. "Now, I'm the only one left in the Gu family." Hearing this, he ground his teeth in frustration. She continued, "I hope your Highness understands. How should a fish that escaped the net like me be dealt with?" He couldn't bring himself to answer. "You are Princess Consort Xin. You will be for your entire life. No one can change that." After saying this, Changqian immediately turned and walked away. At that moment, Qingji took out a poison pill and stared at it intently. Letting a powerless Gu Qingji confront the court officials is not really like your Highness's cunning tricks. If you were to single-mindedly go your own way, perhaps many people who want to follow your Highness would want to turn away from His Majesty. Instantly, a furious Changqian turned back around. "Gu Qingji." Suddenly, he was stunned to see her offering the wine tray to him. "Your Highness, pour a cup of poison wine and personally send me on my way. His Majesty will surely be endlessly delighted." Hearing these words, Changqian smiled self-deprecatingly. He said sadly, "I know. From the very beginning, you were unwilling to marry me. You have been aggrieved for these 3 years because of me. Now, you seek death because you want to be liberated." He added, "Gu Qingji, don't even think about it." She didn't reply and began to pour the wine. Seeing this, he quickly stepped forward. Changqian grabbed the wine pot tightly. His face showed clear fear as he exclaimed, "What are you trying to do?" Qingji immediately shook his hand off. She continued to pour the wine. "Your Highness need not worry. There is no poison in this wine. Your Highness knows this much better than I." She added, "This cup of wine is for your Highness." "Thank you, Your Highness." Changqian stared blankly, not raising his hand to take the cup. This made Qingji suddenly burst out laughing. She wondered, what's wrong? Does Your Highness think I could have tampered with it? This is wine that Gu Qingji, personally brewed. Then she drank the cup in one gulp, leaving Changqian unable to react in time. Wait. Changqian's eyes showed clear tension. He quickly reached for the wine cup and warned, "If you want to die, don't think I will let you off." Just like that, he tilted his head back and drained the cup. A look of satisfaction appeared on Qingji's face. Then she spoke softly of the past. "I still remember that year. 5 years ago, Your Highness was only 15, but your literary achievements were so outstanding that you amazed the world." Changqian sighed wearily. "Amazed the world? But the only one who wasn't amazed was you." She shook her head in disagreement. Then she spoke, "Your Highness, you have the beautiful looks of a celestial being." A trail of blood slowly trickled from Qingji's mouth. "If there's anyone to blame, it's me, Gu Qingji, for having long been indifferent to romantic love." Seeing the blood, Changqian rushed towards her in a panic. Qingji gasped in discomfort, dropping the wine cup. "Your infatuation was probably misplaced." He held her body tightly and cried out, "Qing, Qing." Qingji, breathing her last, continued heartbrokenly, "The Gu family is no more. A daughter of the Gu family cannot remain either." Changqian's mind was in turmoil as he sobbed heartbrokenly. "Don't say any more." Blood from an unknown source flowed out, soaking the floor. Qingji said bitterly, "I'm not only unfeeling, I'm also heartless." You see, at this moment, Changqian fell into a state of stunned crisis as he listened to her. "I can even strike down my own flesh and blood. Your Highness, I wish for you to ascend the throne soon." With those words, Qingji went limp. Changqian held her body and reproached, "Gu Qingji, you are so vicious. You are truly too vicious." Incense shares the same root as medicine. It can please people, but it can also kill. Meanwhile, in another place, urgent calls rang out. "County Princess! County Princess!" In her blurry vision, the figures of several women appeared. They exclaimed joyfully, "The County Princess is awake. County Princess, are you all right?" Qingji looked at them blankly, curious. "Why am I here? Who? Are they calling?" She clutched the herb in her hand. "What is this? What does this smell?" "This is the divine immortal's herb." Suddenly, the image of a strange man appeared, reminding her, Shiha, as the daughter of the Northwest King. "Shen Yushan, you cannot stay in such a small house. It's time to leave the yellow sands of the Northwest and go to a prosperous place to gain a different perspective." Qingji pondered the names in confusion. Northwest King, Shen Yushan. Suddenly, she woke up. These are the memories of Shun Shiha. Wood incense, agarwood incense, Anwei Ji. Flexible, clears the meridians and the mind. Where is this? Why is my sense of smell so keen? Qingji held her head and sat up. She pondered the events in confusion. "I can't believe County Princess Shiha is still alive." After regaining consciousness, she fell into the water. It seems there was someone else beside her who pushed Shiha into the water. The appearance of that maidservant. "Her name is Ling Long." Qingji was stunned as she remembered that face and name. Just then, 2 maids entered the room. Zi called out happily, "Sister Zhenju, the County Princess is awake." Zhenju quickly sat down to take the pulse of Qingji, who was in Shiha's body. "County Princess, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere else?" Hearing this, Qingji shook her head. At this moment, Ziyu spoke up worriedly. "County Princess, when you fell into the lake, it was Sister Ling Long who saved you. Thankfully, you're all right, but Sister Ling Long." Qingji sneered sarcastically. What a fine case of dying to save her master. Suddenly, her expression turned serious as she ordered, "Zhenju, Ziyu, go report to the authorities and hunt down the runaway servant." Hearing this, Zhenju stroked her chin thoughtfully. "County Princess, you mean Ling Long intentionally pushed you?" Hearing this analysis, Ziyu cried her eyes out. "Our mistress is the best mistress in the world. How could Ling Long do such a thing? Qingji said nothing and pondered silently, faking her death to escape. There must be someone backing her up. If Shun Shiha didn't die, they will strike again. Suddenly remembering something, she asked the two maids, "That's right, I was holding something in my hand before. Did you see it?" Then she fell into thought again. "In my memories, I never picked any immortal's herb. It must have been picked by the person who fell from the slope, but it ended up with me." Ziyu carefully brought over a box. "It's here. This servant specially put it here." Qingji, in Shiha's body, carefully observed the immortal's herb and thought, "It really is the immortal's herb. This thing is rarely recorded. Who on earth is that person to be able to find the legendary immortal's herb? Him and Ling Long this matter is related." With that thought, she waved her hand. "Put it away. It might not be a good thing." Just then, a call was heard as the door opened. "Mistress," Moyu announced breathlessly, "that person is causing trouble again." Seeing this, Zhanju gently reminded her, "Moyu, the mistress's body is weak. She needs a rest now. Don't disturb her." Just as Zhanju finished speaking, she spoke up, "It's fine. Let's go take a look." Outside, a few people were gathered, whispering about some eunuch and a young lady. They were also disdainful because that man was sent by the emperor. Even when Shiha appeared, they still added another sentence. "They say he's here to protect the county princess on her way to the capital, but in reality." Before the words were finished, a scream came from inside the room. "Help! Let go of me!" Moyu said in a panic, "County princess, it's in here." Shiha acknowledged with a sound. Moyu immediately rushed forward and kicked the door. Hearing the noise, Zhongzi panicked and looked towards the door. She was already standing there, glancing at him and warning in a low voice, "Huang Zhongzi, for a mere servant to make me come find him personally. How should this be handled now?" Zhongzi, with his clothes in disarray, knelt down trembling. "This slave pays his respects to the county princess. The county princess sent someone to summon this slave. For troubling the county princess, this slave deserves death." She said nothing, only looking towards the bed where the young lady he had been harassing was hiding fearfully behind the curtain. She called out softly, "Moyu." Hearing her name, she immediately rushed out from behind and mercilessly landed a punch on that eunuch. Then she quickly tied Zhongzi up, ignoring his shouts. "County princess, this slave was sent by his majesty. This is not right, county princess." She looked at him coldly and uttered, "Noisy." Moyu grabbed Zhongzi's mouth and squeezed it hard. He looked down at his own mouth, unable to close it, in a daze. Once done, she left the place, assigning tasks as she walked. "Zhanju, take this young lady to change her clothes and bathe. Continue to beat those who deserve to be beaten. Ziyu, tell Mo Yuan to prepare for departure tomorrow. Moyu, take Huang Zhongzi and this other eunuch, tie them up, and lock them in the woodshed." Zhenju looked at Shihi's sharp, cold eyes, momentarily surprised. She watched Shihi's retreating figure and exclaimed, "The county princess seems to have truly changed." After leaving the Northwest, the county princess seemed to have matured, losing her fragile appearance. Now, just a single glance could make one feel her authority. While she was standing, Mo Yuan's voice rang out, County princess, your health is the most important thing. If not, we can rest for 3 days before departing." Finding the suggestion agreeable, she consented. After 3 days, Mo Yuan sat at the front, carefully driving the carriage, when suddenly, Shihi saw something outside. She immediately gave an order. "This is not the main road. Tell Mo Yuan to stop the carriage." Zhenju exclaimed in surprise. "What?" Very quickly, the carriage stopped. Ziyu carefully helped Shi down. She ordered, "Mo, bring all 3 of them, Huang Zhongzi included, over here." Hearing her order, Zhenju and Mo Yuan looked at each other worriedly. The group walked towards a cliff, Zhongzi's mouth blaring again. "County princess, this is contempt for imperial authority. This slave is an envoy sent by his majesty." His face turned pale as he begged, County princess, spare my life." She paid him no mind and said coldly, "Throw him down." Before he could utter another word, Moyu had grabbed him by the collar, and just like that, following Shihi's words, she threw him off the cliff, leaving only his screams echoing in the air. Mo Yuan and the 2 maids could only stare blankly after him. She quickly turned her head, her eyes threateningly fixed on the other eunuchs. She said in a cold voice, "How did Huang Zhongzi meet his demise?" The two soldiers answered in a fluster, reporting to the county princess. They stammered. The eunuch unfortunately fell from the cliff while protecting the county princess. She smiled with satisfaction. Very good. Zhenju looked at her and spoke hesitantly. "County princess, these two." She immediately stated her calculation. If they all died, it would be seen as contempt for imperial authority. It's better that they live. I'm not afraid of them turning against me. There is evidence for everything. Suddenly, a voice clicked its tongue in disdain. The county princess clearly murdered the son of Heaven's eunuch. This is a huge weakness. The guards and maids looked warily towards the source of the voice. Unbeknownst to them, a man was standing nearby, watching them. She slowly walked towards the person and asked, "My father, the Northwest King, and the Shunan King have no alliance but respect each other. The heir will not make things difficult for me." Chulin did not answer, but asked her in return, "You know who I am?" She pulled a small cloth pouch from her sleeve and said, "Even if it wasn't hard to guess, you wouldn't want me to know other things, would you?" Chulin looked at the item she presented and couldn't help but wonder. "What is this?" She replied, "This is something women always carry on them, one you maiden's fragrance. The scent from that sachet on you has already faded." She leaned close to Chulin and warned in a low voice, "The heir of the Shunan King is actually a woman. This is the biggest leverage of all." Her words startled Chulin, who took several steps back. She frowned at he in annoyance. "You." But she just raised a finger to her lips, signaling for silence. The Northwest and Shunan aim for a friendly alliance. What happened today must not be known to a third person. Chulin tacitly agreed, marveling inwardly. This girl, besides having a keen nose, was also very intelligent. She had only heard that the Shun family's young lady was gentle and weak, never expecting her to hide her talents so well. Chulin smirked with amusement, then immediately used her lightness skill to depart. "I will accept the county princess's gift. However, I have never been in anyone's debt, so today I will also return a favor to you." She watched her go, puzzled, and mumbled, "Return a favor today?" At this moment, from behind, Mo Yuan called out respectfully, reporting to the county princess. She turned back to look at him coldly. "What is it?" He reported respectfully. "County princess, there are two groups fighting ahead. Should we go and investigate?" She didn't answer right away, but looked at him with a grim expression. For a moment, this look sent a chill down his spine. He and Ziyu walked past him. "No need. Let's keep moving." He quickly replied, "Yes, yes." And Mo Yuan watched her retreating back and thought to himself, could it be that the county princess is seen through the king's intentions? Suddenly, a man leaped past from above, with two men in black pursuing him. He looked towards her, momentarily surprised. Seeing the familiar face, she froze and exclaimed in her heart, "Xiao Changqian, this is Shen Yushan's choice." Changjing turned and dodged each attack from the men in black. He, from a distance, just stood there watching them brandish their swords. A beauty, saving a hero. TSK. You really went to great pains to choose a good son-in-law for me. Suddenly, Changjing grabbed his jade pendant, and then decisively threw it hard toward her. She's eyes widened as she watched it fall right near her. Mo Yuan quickly picked it up and said happily, "County princess, this is a royal jade pendant." She glanced towards Changjing, thinking, as expected of a brother of Xiao, Changqian from the same mother. So clever. Although a bit displeased, she still ordered Mo Yuan, "Save him." Yes. Soon after, night fell. She sat in her room, questioning Mo Yuan, who was kneeling below, not taking the main road, but a small path to provoke Xiao Changjing. "Are you truly loyal to your master?" Mo Yuan bowed his head worriedly. This subordinate knows his crime and begs the county princess for punishment. She raised an eyebrow suspiciously. "I still don't know if you are my servant or one that my father arranged to be by my side." Just then, Ziyu rushed in frantically. "This is bad." Mo Yuan couldn't say anything more than a single word. "Aye." Then Ziyu continued, "His Highness Prince Lai's wound is poisoned. Sister Zhenju has temporarily stopped the poison from spreading with needles. To cure it, the poison must be scraped from the bone, but the lights on the veranda were still on." Zhenju carefully inserted a needle into the back of Prince Lai's hand. She frowned slightly and said with concern, "County Princess, there is no immediate danger, but if we directly scrape the bone to treat the poison, I'm afraid His Highness will die from the pain as the poison attacks his heart." Hearing this, Shihi coldly uttered 2 words, "troublesome." She bent down to look at Changjing's wound and instructed, "I saw some datura flowers while walking just now. Go pick them." Zhenju replied worriedly, "Datura flowers? County Princess, your constitution is weak if you come into direct contact with this poison." Before she could finish, she cut her off. "If he dies here, the entire Northwest King's Manor will find it hard to escape the blame." Very quickly, a light pink flower branch was brought back. "County Princess, the flower has been picked." She focused on grinding the medicine without replying. Fortunately, her sachet contained 3 herbs that could be ground with the datura flower to make an anesthetic incense. Now on the bed, Changjing smelled the wafting smoke and groaned uncomfortably. She carefully watched his expression, hopeful. This incense will make a person sink into a deep illusion. "Xiao Changjing, you'd better hold on for me," she ordered. "Bring the heated knife over here." She took the knife and carefully made a cut into Changjing's wound. His face turned pale from the pain. Suddenly, a hand reached towards her. "County Princess." Changjing's hand gripped Shi's knife-wielding wrist, squeezing so tightly that her hand trembled. Zhenju, at her side, looked at her with worry, but Shi said irritably, "What are you afraid of? The wound should be on his face. He's holding me so tight, I can't bring the knife down." "Zhenju, you do it." Zhenju followed the order. A while later, Zhenju was carefully treating the wound on Shi's hand. Looking at the County Princess's wrist, her eyes welled up with tears. "It's such a deep wound. What if it leaves a scar?" She sighed in exasperation and reminded her, "It's just a superficial wound. It'll be gone in 2 days. Besides, you and Mo Yuan should think carefully about who your master really is." Hearing these words, Mo Yuan and Zhenju immediately knelt down. From now on, this subordinate will only obey the County Princess's orders. She only replied faintly, "Remember your words today. Don't disappoint me. Tell me, why was Prince Lai being pursued?" Mo Yuan hesitated, unable to form the words. "This." She glanced at him, her voice carrying a warning. "Speak." He quickly confessed, reporting to the County Princess. His Highness Prince Lai had just gone to Yangzhou to investigate the Rouge case. She seemed to recall something. The Rouge case. The favored concubine who forced the primary wife to her death and incited her husband to sell official posts to amass wealth. She frowned, confused. The entire political situation of the realm was shaken because of a Miss Rouge. She recalled that heroes have always had a weakness for beauties. Men conquer the world with force. Women conquer the world by conquering men. The Rouge of this Rouge case was a woman raised by treacherous rebels to sow chaos in the court. Changjing was being hunted because he held crucial evidence about what was behind the case. Immediately after, she ordered Mo Yuan, "Take off all of Prince Lai's clothes and belongings." The clothes were quickly removed and placed neatly. She was still uneasy. "It's not on his person. Where could it be hidden?" She carefully used tongs to pick up a cake crumb. This Bienlian cake seems to have been repeatedly crushed under a shoe sole. She turned to Mo Yuan again. "Follow the trail of Prince Lai's pursuit. Find where Bienlian cakes are sold." He immediately obeyed. Before dawn, the books wrapped in a cloth were brought by Mo Yuan. "County Princess, the items have been found." She read each page carefully. Capital nobles, border officials, local key figures. She sighed inwardly. The connections behind this case are so wide and important. She smiled lightly and tapped Changjing's face with the book. "It wasn't in vain that I saved your life." At this moment, Mo Yuan asked worriedly, "County Princess, what should we do with this?" Shia's eyes were full of calculation. "Secretly give it to His Highness, the Crown Prince." Mo Yuan was so shocked he shouted, "His Highness the Crown Prince?" Before leaving the Northwest, the Prince instructed us not to get close to His Highness the Crown Prince. His Highness the Crown Prince is weak and sickly, with at most 5 years to live. He is a successor in name only. She had cut him off. "Isn't being short-lived even better?" She slowly explained. "The stronger the imperial family's power, the less they will allow the gentry clans to grow. The extermination of the Gu family is a lesson. To protect the Shun family, I am the only one who can aim for the position of Empress." Xia was indifferent. The sons of Emperor Yuning are not simple. No one knows who will have the last laugh. At this moment, Changing was also awakened by the noise. Rather than some prince who might inherit the throne, it's better to directly have a child with the short-lived crown prince to elevate one's status. She had commented frankly, placing her own life on the chessboard. That's placing a bet too early. After all, a well-laid plan is hard to retract. A wrong bet leaves no room for regret. Changing's cough made both Shiha and the other person stop talking. He said sarcastically, "I didn't expect County Princess Zhaoning to be so promiscuous. Getting involved with me alone isn't enough. You're even planning to get involved with my brothers." She has said insinuatingly, "The ninth prince is awake. Forgive this servant for her poor memory. At that time, I didn't realize the one being hunted was a prince. It's fortunate your highness didn't perish." Her words left Changing speechless. He stepped off the bed. Then he moved close to Shiha. This prince was hunted from Yinling to Changsha Prefecture, on the brink of life and death, only to meet you, who has set up such a grand chess game. Now you're playing hard to get. Shiha retorted sarcastically. Your highness is overthinking. If you hadn't thrown out the jade pendant last night, you'd be gone by now. Changing was about to say something, but Mo Yuan's furtive actions caught his attention. What did you say? She used a pair of tongs to turn Changing's chin back. It's fine to tell your highness. This servant did indeed recognize your highness, but I intentionally didn't save you. She provoked. Which prince would this servant even get involved with? Why must County Princess Zhaoning enter the capital? Everyone knows full well, in terms of nobility, you are not equal to His Highness the Crown Prince. In terms of favor, you are not equal to His Highness Prince Zhao. In terms of affection, you are not equal to His Highness Prince Jing. In terms of age, you cannot compare to His Highness Prince Xian. Shiha arrogantly sneered. You only have the reputation of a reckless demon king. On what basis should this servant take a liking to you? Changing grabbed her wrist, he laughed coldly. Shiha, you are truly too arrogant. However, Shiha was not the least bit afraid. I am the daughter of the Northwest King. I will be the one to choose my man. Even in front of His Majesty, I would dare to say such words. As soon as she finished speaking, Changing slammed her hand against the wall. He showed a look of interest. Regardless of your purpose, you have managed to stir this prince's heart. Yet, there was not a hint of a smile in Changing's eyes. This prince does not believe that there is a woman in this world that this prince cannot have. She has said coldly, "Can your highness let go first?" Her wrist revealed a bright red mark on her fair skin. Changing faltered. "This wound, it seems I caused it in the dark." Shiha did not answer, and just continued. In this world, even someone as noble as His Majesty will have things he cannot possess. This is something this servant will only say this once. As she reached the door, her declaration made Changing clench his fists in anger. I, Shun Shiha, will definitely be the woman you can never possess in your entire life. Inside the carriage, Jinju was reporting on the plan. County Princess, the matter of delivering the assassination evidence to His Highness the Crown Prince has been arranged. Is it all right for us to abandon Prince Lai here? Shiha was not worried at all. What's not all right? Jinju voiced her worries. When he discovers the evidence is missing, I'm afraid he will suspect us and become our enemy. Shiha replied, "Become our enemy? It's only a matter of time." A look of amusement was clear on her face. However, being relentlessly pursued by him would also be a headache. Then Shiha gave an order. Zhenju, have Ziyu disguise herself as me and continue on the main road. You and Moyu will follow me in a small carriage and take a detour. Then we will regroup outside the capital. Zhenju quickly accepted the order. A few days later in Luoyang, inside an inn, Julin's my Bozai County Princess actually ran to Luoyang. You really made me search for a long time. Shiha wiped her mouth and replied gently, "Does the heir have some business here?" Chu Lin was excited. "It's nothing, County Princess. Were you satisfied with what I gave you that day?" Shiha feigned ignorance. "What did you give me?" Chu Lin was flustered. "You clearly took my things. Why are you pretending with me?" As soon as the words were out, Shiha suddenly shot up, causing Chu Lin to lose her balance and fall backward. She said bluntly, "That day, so many people were hunting Prince Lai. Were you confident you could save him and escape at the same time? If the thief had turned around and bit you, you would have been the criminal who tried to harm a prince. So don't say you gave me a gift. On the contrary, you owe me several favors for that." Chu Lin was confused by Shiha's words. She bristled. "Why do I owe you?" Shiha gave a mischievous smile. "Here, drink a glass of water to suppress your fear." Just as Chu Lin took a few gulps, Shiha smiled benignly. "That water is poisoned." This made Chu Lin immediately spit out the water in her mouth. Then Shiha gave her another cup, saying it was the antidote. Chulin gullibly drank again. Shiha continued to tease, forgot to say that this cup is poison. She handed a glass of water to Chulin. This one is the antidote. This time, Chulin didn't believe her anymore. However, Shiha still persuaded her. It's just the antidote, nothing else. Finally, Chulin clutched her stomach and let out a breath. I'm going to die from drinking water. Shiha suddenly spoke, making Chulin realize the real poison was from the incense burner behind her. Have you noticed your limbs feeling weak? Chulin looked hurt and slumped onto the table. I came to find you with all my heart, and this is how you treat me. She had took the opportunity to set a condition. If you don't talk properly, I won't give you the antidote. Chulin reluctantly submitted. Don't, I was wrong. I came to give a gift. She quickly grabbed the scented pouch and inhaled deeply, then signaled for her subordinate outside to bring the item in. Linglong was immediately thrown through the window. She slammed hard onto the table, making Shiha frown and turn to look. Linglong's face showed clear surprise. In contrast, Shiha was a little displeased. Linglong? Shiha was not very keen on the surprise, while Chulin was trying her best to curry favor. I found the runaway servant you issued a wanted notice for. Aren't you happy? On the contrary, Shiha reprimanded her. I issued the wanted notice to make Prince Kang's residents lower their guard against her. But you've alerted the enemy and ruined my entire plan. Chulin was scared. I was wrong. Big sister, can you give me a chance to repent? Shiha said nonchalantly. Oh, then help me turn her into a human swine and release her into the bedchamber of Prince Kang's consort in the middle of the night. Hearing this, a terrified Linglong shook her head repeatedly. Her weak cries did not affect Shiha at all. Chulin was also shocked by Shia's plan. The weak county princess Zhaoning of the legends is actually so vicious? Shiha glanced at her. Do you have an opinion? A frightened Chulin hurriedly denied it. Shiha finally put down her teacup. Chulin was a little thoughtful. I just feel that among the rumors about you, only one is true, that you have a weak and sickly body, and your drinks are all tonics to sustain your life. She suddenly switched to a recent rumor. Speaking of which, there's recent news about the white-haired divine doctor. It said he has created a bone-shedding pill that can cure all diseases. But one must bring the legendary immortal herb, the immortal silk, to exchange for it. Shiha was also curious. Immortal silk? She suddenly remembered. Could it be the person who fell off the cliff with the white-haired old man that day is related? What a coincidence. I have that immortal herb in my hands. Hearing this, Chulin became excited. Then what are we waiting for? She immediately picked Shiha up. There's no day like today. I'll take you to find him now. She tried to stop her, but it was too late. Wait. The two of them finally got on the carriage and left. Chulin held a piece of paper in her hand and praised. Your underground network is not bad. Prince Lai lost you and angrily ran to Fahua Temple to complain to his brother. Shiha was surprised. Fahua Temple? Why is Prince Xian at Fahua Temple? Chulin didn't expect her not to know and explained that because Prince Xian's consort, Gu Qingji, committed suicide, Prince Xian angrily killed the entire Gu family and went to Fahua Temple himself to kneel day and night. A look of astonishment flashed in Shiha's eyes. She sighed. He is so sentimental. Shiha felt a little guilty. It seems he still remembers my dying words. In the future, he will also be relentless in his pursuit of the throne, won't he? Just then, the carriage shook violently. Bandits! Chulin was extremely happy. A fight? Watch me. She quickly joined the fray, slashing at the bandits, kicking one away. After the fight, Chulin was also tired. No matter how you look at it, they're just a bunch of mountain bandits. Were they really sent by Prince Xian? Shia held the poison incense burner and explained, first the mountain bandits. If the bandits can't handle it, then the authorities will come to eliminate them, using the government soldiers to kill us. Then they'll brand us as fugitives. The matter of the alliance between the Northwest King and the King of Shu then will be muddled. Just like that. Sure enough, the government soldiers rushed in. Fight the bandits before you. Kill them all. Chulin fought while trying to retort. Fight what? What nonsense are you talking about? However, the government soldiers were still aggressive. Don't listen to the bandits' sophistry. Kill. Chulin realized the situation was not good and instructed, there are too many government soldiers. I'm afraid our small group can't handle them. You and Jinju take this chance to escape on horseback first. At this moment, Jinju suddenly sensed danger. She shouted when she saw a government soldier approaching Shiha from behind. County Princess. Jinju's face turned pale with fear. County Princess, be careful. She had closed her eyes tightly, waiting for the pain to hit. However, instead, the person in front of her was a young man with brilliant golden eyes. The embroidered uniform envoy stood in front of Shiha. I am an embroidered uniform envoy. Who are you? The government soldiers now also turned pale. It's the Emperor's personal guard, the embroidered uniform envoy. They might have the tiger tally in their hands. We can't touch them. Suddenly, a faint fragrance wafted by. Shiha recognized this scent. On his body, there's the lingering scent of Tagara. The government soldiers knelt down to admit their guilt. Envoy, please forgive us. This subordinate had no intention of causing conflict. This subordinate was only following orders to eliminate them. The embroidered uniform envoy frowned in annoyance. Eliminate? Why is it that I'm standing here, seeing that these people are all young masters and ladies from official families? The government soldier dared not argue back. The envoy is right. It was this subordinate's mistake. The envoy finally sheathed his sword, turned his head, and asked, "Who are you?" Jinju presented a register. "My lord, I was passing by, intending to return to the city, when I encounter a robbery." The envoy read it intently, then let out a soft laugh. His expression made Shiha suspicious. This person, something about him seemed not quite right. The envoy handed back the register, then left. "Start your journey. It's better not to enter the city," Jinju exclaimed. Thankfully, the embroidered uniform envoy stepped in to save us. However, Shiha didn't think it was that simple. A coincidence? Although the embroidered uniform envoys appear and disappear like ghosts, they wouldn't bother with such trivial mortal affairs. They would absolutely not leave a trace for such a common case. She recalled the scent on him. He clearly had the scent of Tagara, a top-grade agarwood. A small amount was worth 100 taels of gold. Not to mention, it was priceless. This embroidered uniform envoy was actually that wealthy? At the white-haired old man's place, the old man gestured for Shiha and the other to come this way. Shiha thought relaxedly. The scent of medicine calms the mind. The scent of flowers clears the heart. This is truly a paradise. Suddenly, she noticed something. Before her was a man who seemed to radiate the brilliant light of jewels. Shiha exclaimed inwardly, so dazzling all of a sudden. The white-haired old man introduced them. "Miss Shun, this is Hua Fuhai, Hua Daowei. Hua Daowei, this is Miss Shun from Suzhou." Fuhai bowed in greeting. Miss Shun. Shiha also returned the courtesy. Hua Daowei. She once again smelled that familiar scent. It was the scent of Tagara again. This precious, top-grade scent. Since when did it become so common? Shiha ordered Jinju to bring up the gift. "Old sir, you once said that the immortal silk could be exchanged for the bone-shedding pill and a lifetime's collection of medical notes. You should keep your word now, right?" The white-haired old man stroked his beard curiously. "Of course I'll keep my word, but where did you get it?" Shiha answered nonchalantly. "I saw it by the river and picked it." Fuhai chimed in. "Miss Shun is truly honest. I was just telling the old sir about how I was lucky enough to obtain the immortal's silk on a steep cliff. This herb was rooted very, very deep. After I picked it, the cliff collapsed, and I dropped it into the river. When I woke up, it was gone." Shia's next words made the smile on Fuhai's face freeze. "Oh, so you were the one who fell from the sky that day." She also had her own thoughts. "So, it seems fate has brought us together 3 times. The second time, he was the Emperor's personal embroidered uniform envoy, and the third time, he is Hua Fuhai, the richest man under heaven." The white-haired old man tried to mediate. "Since there's no way to determine the owner of the immortal silk herb, why not have a competition? What do you two think?" Shiha and Fuhai agreed without hesitation. The white-haired old man began to set the rules for the competition. "Then let's play go. But don't be too rigid, or this old man will get bored watching and doze off. In this game, whoever can break the stalemate first will get the bone-shedding pill and the medical notes." Shiha chose the white stones, and Fuhai chose the black ones. A suspicion arose in Shiha's heart. Hua Fuhai is not necessarily the real Hua Fuhai. Jinju brought a sachet over. "My lady, I brought the sachet you asked for." Shiha, her eyes still fixed on the go board, reached out to take the sachet. On the other side, Fuhai placed a black stone down firmly. He looked at her with a triumphant gaze. "Miss Shun has conceded. I have won. However, Shiha remained completely unfazed. Is that so? She dropped the game piece into a cup of water. Take another look. Fuhai's expression hardened. I only took the precaution of using ink to dye it, but I never expected you could turn black into white. Shiha revealed, the truth cannot be hidden. Just now, I put the stone that Junju had coated with a substance into this sachet. Fuhai finally sighed in resignation. He bowed to admit defeat. Miss Shun's mind and methods. I am thoroughly impressed. I have lost. He eagerly requested, since the bone-shedding pill is all yours, could you copy the recipe for this bone-shedding pill for me? Shiha agreed immediately without hesitation. The white-haired old man laughed happily. It seems the victory and defeat between you two is clear. He advised, after taking the bone-shedding pill, you still need to take care of yourself. At the same time, he suggested, I see that Miss Junju has a gift. Why not stay here with me to study for a while? It would be good for her to return after that. She was a bit hesitant. I'm afraid that. The white-haired old man said bluntly, if Miss Shun is worried that without Miss Junju by your side, there will be no one who understands medicine to regulate your body for you. Shiha did not object to this point. Junju grew up with me since childhood. She understands my condition the best. The old man stroked his beard, turned his head, and called out, Miss, you don't need to worry. Yin-Huai spoke up, disciple is here. Miss Shun, I will lend you my disciple. He has extraordinary achievements in medicine. Before long, his medical skills will even surpass mine. Shiha was surprised. This person is Xie Yunhuai. She recalled that year. If it weren't for the feud over his mother's murder that caused Xie Yunhuai to leave the Xie family. Gu Qingji's husband was this very young Master Xie before her. So he had actually been living in obscurity as a disciple of this white-haired old man. The white-haired old man praised endlessly. This is my disciple, Qi Yunhuai. He also knows a lot about the bone-shedding pill and can help you. Yunhuai, from now on, follow Miss Shun and take care of her. Yunhuai agreed with a blank expression. Shiha praised him inwardly. 6 years have passed. He has changed his identity and name, but only his resolve has not changed at all. She smiled in response. If that's the case, it would be more respectful to obey than to decline. Night finally fell. Fuhai's clothes were strewn on the ground. Huayong peeled off the mask on his face. To think she could recognize me, she really has sharp eyes. Tian Yuan behind him wondered, could it be that she already knew who you are? Huayong replied, no, she only knows that I was the embroiderer from yesterday. He was amused. Shen Shiha, this woman is quite interesting. In a palace, a voice rang out. To dare say this prince is cute is truly too insolent. It seems this prince must teach her a lesson. Elsewhere, Yunhuai was taking Shia's pulse. She spoke, I'll have to trouble Dr. Qi to follow me to the capital. If Dr. Qi doesn't wish to enter the capital, you can stay in the outskirts. He cupped his hands and replied slowly, County Princess Xie, Yunhuai will certainly do his utmost to help the County Princess recover. After speaking, Yunhuai took out a wooden box. Oh, right, this is the Immortal's silk herb that Master told me to return to you. Master said there's no need to trade the bone-shedding pill for the Immortal's silk. You just wanted to test him. Shiha looked at the box of Immortal's silk before her and let out an indifferent "oh." Seeing this, he continued to speak about the Immortal's silk. When Master was young, he was immersed in medicine and ignored the feelings of his wife. His wife resented him and wanted to leave him. She set a difficult condition, demanding that he find the Immortal's silk before she would forgive him. Pausing for a moment, Yunhuai continued, unfortunately, by the time his wife passed away, Master still hadn't found it. This time, it could be considered his wish fulfilled. Hearing this, Shiha replied, so there was such a story. Then she turned and gave an order. MOU, go find out where Hua Daowei is and return the Immortal's silk to its original owner. MOU bowed respectfully and obeyed. Seeing that his business here was done, Yunhuai stood up to take his leave. Next, Yunhuai needs to prepare the medicine based on the county princess's physical condition. I will take my leave first. Shiha remained seated and saw him off politely. I've troubled you, doctor. Chu Lin was in another room, lying listlessly on a chair, playfully plucking petals from a flower. She cares for me. She cares for me not. She cares for me. Suddenly, Shiha walked in. Is there anything else you need here? Chu Lin immediately regained her cheerful and excited demeanor and stood up. She moved closer to Shiha. Didn't the county princess tell me to take Ling Long to the Kong Manor? When should I take her? She sat on a chair, lifted the teacup in her hand, and replied indifferently, "Tonight." She had calculated inwardly, "In 2 more days, I'll reach the capital. At that time, I'll let the Kong Manor know that I, Shan Shiha, have arrived." Hearing this, Chu Lin showed clear delight. "All right, leave it to me. I've long heard about the grudge between the Northwest King and the Kong Manor. I'll even throw in a few venomous snakes." Chu Lin briefly told her about the events of the past. 14 years ago, Shan Shiha's father, Shan Yueshan, came to the capital to receive a reward, but he was drugged by the legitimate daughter of the Kong Manor, the emperor's cousin, Lady Xiao. Shen Yueshan and Lady Xiao ended up in a marital situation. For the sake of face, they wanted Shen Yueshan to marry Lady Xiao. The Northwest Princess consort, who was 8 months pregnant, suffered a great shock and had to give birth to the sickly Shen Shiha, later dying from a difficult birth. At that time, Yueshan held his newborn child and wept in anguish. Shen Yueshan swore an oath to never marry Lady Xiao. Reaching this point, Chu Lin thought happily. So the Kong Manor and Shen Shiha are mortal enemies with a feud over her mother's murder. The more chaos I cause for the Kong Manor, the happier Shen Shiha will be. She will definitely have to thank me. A voice came from outside. "County Princess, Mo, you came before Shiha and reported to her. Hua Daowei said this item fell from the sky into your hands, which proves it has an affinity with you. He hopes that in the future, you could be more generous regarding the bone-shedding pill. This immortal silk is to be considered your thank you gift." Shiha frowned slightly and asked, "A thank you gift?" She raised her hand to her chin, considering it carefully. This was his way of blocking any debt of gratitude. The bone-shedding pill is a medicine that's hard to come by even in 100 years. If there's news of it in the future, it won't be easy to find him to tell him. She sighed inwardly. This person is truly meticulous. Around midnight, when the courtyard was completely silent, a loud scream suddenly rang out. A servant in the manor supported old Madame Kong with one hand and hurriedly screamed for help. "Someone, the old madam, has fainted." Before the two of them was a person lying in a large vat, surrounded by a lot of blood. The next morning, at the market in the capital city, voices buzzed with gossip about last night's incident. "Did you hear? Something happened at the Kong Manor." A horrifying thing appeared in the old princess consort's courtyard. Inside was a human head covered in syrup, and the old princess consort fainted on the spot from fright. At a dining table, several men were also discussing last night's event. A venomous snake also flew out of the vat and bit the legitimate eldest son of the Kong Manor. Another person added, "Hey, have you guys heard? It seems the Minister of the Court of Judicial Review will investigate this case." On the dining table was a spread of delicacies. She has scooped a spoonful of soup and brought it to her mouth to savor. Suddenly, Imoyu stood before her, reporting respectfully, "County Princess, Jinyu has returned. The journey was very safe. Also, there is someone from the Court of Judicial Review at the door requesting an audience." Hearing this, Shiha put down the bowl in her hand and ordered Moyu, the person from the Court of Judicial Review, quickly invite them in. She carefully wiped her mouth with a napkin before receiving the guest from outside. "The Court of Judicial Review is handling the case. My people haven't even entered the capital city. How are they already involved in the case?" Ziyu respectfully showed that person away, "This way, please." The man also replied politely, "My apologies for the intrusion." He came before her and greeted respectfully. This humble official, Chui Jinbai, pays his respects to the county princess. Without beating around the bush, he directly stated his purpose for coming to Shiha's residence. Last night, at the Kong residence, someone fished in troubled waters and delivered a vat to the residence. Inside that vat was a person who had been brutally tortured. It has been confirmed that it was the county princess's wanted servant, Ling Long. The image was quite gruesome. Inside the vat was the lifeless Ling Long, along with venomous snakes. After speaking, he stood up straight and extended his hand forward. He said sternly to Shiha, "This humble official has come here to inquire about some information regarding Ling Long. I hope the county princess will grant her approval." Hearing this, Shiha slowly stood up. She ordered the servant beside her, "Ziyu, explain everything clearly to young Minister Chui." Ziyu obediently complied. Suddenly, Shiha realized something was wrong. She widened her eyes to see more clearly. She saw the layers of fragrance wafting around Jinbai. "Tagara incense. It's you again." Chui Jinbai became an official at 16 and works every day except for holidays. How could he appear in the embroidered uniform guard? And how could he disguise himself as Hua Fuhai? Is it a coincidence? No, absolutely not. In my past life, I met Chui Jinbai a few times. With his character, he would never use tag-era incense. Jinbai looked at her with a puzzled expression. Shiha was still lost in her own train of thought. Not only did he sneak into the embroidered uniform guard, but he can also sneak into the court of judicial review, skilled in both literature and martial arts. Like a fish in water. I really didn't know the capital city had so many talented people back then. Later, in the back of the residence, Shiha calmly sat at a stone table, slowly enjoying her refreshments. She ordered Mo Yuan, go find out where Chui Jinbai is. He stammered back at her, Chui, isn't young Minister Chui interrogating Ziyu? She calmly scooped up a spoonful of food. He is not Chui Jinbai. Go find the real one now. You must find him. An hour later, Shiha sat in the room, her eyes half closed, listening to Mo Yuan report the situation. County Princess, your subordinate has found out. Today, young Minister Chui went from his home to the Court of Judicial Review and then came straight here without any delay. He was accompanied by 2 people from the Court of Judicial Review. She had clenched the book in her hand, analyzing in a low voice. Therefore, he could only have been swapped out from inside his own home. Who could be so brazen? Then she turned to ask MOU, is he still interrogating? MOU immediately replied, yes, all the servants attending to the county princess have been summoned for questioning, including the maids. She had continued to ask, what did he ask? MOU tried to recall for a moment, then answered, how did Ling Long usually serve the county princess? How did the county princess treat Ling Long? How well did Ling Long understand the county princess? Hearing this, she has smiled lightly and snapped the book in her hand shut. She placed the book on the table, turned to look at MOU, go summon young Minister Chui here. Say that I have some doubts in my heart and invite him to explain. An image of the fake Jin Bai suddenly appeared in her mind. This person seems to be investigating Ling Long, but is actually investigating me. Why is he going to such lengths? What is his purpose, really? She has sat in the room, calmly waiting for the fake Jin Bai to arrive. He walked over, respectfully clasped his hands, and greeted her. Where are the county princess's instructions? Please speak freely. She had lifted the handkerchief in her hand to cover her mouth, looking unwell. She pointed to the seat opposite her and said to the fake Jin Bai, young Minister Chui, please sit. My body is weak and cannot be exposed to drafts. I asked for young Minister Chui's understanding. He sat down in front of her without any guard. Shiha, still covering her nose with the handkerchief, spoke in a serious tone. Young Minister Chui is a man of the Court of Judicial Review, so you must be very familiar with the law. I want to ask, if someone impersonates a court official, what crime is that? The fake Jinbai also answered Shia's question seriously. Impersonating a court official, the crime depends on the actions. If one impersonates an official but does no evil, the light punishment is caning, the heavy one is imprisonment. But if one impersonates and murders an official, regardless of what they do afterward, they will be beheaded. Hearing this, Shiha smiled lightly, as if she had achieved her goal. Then she looked straight into his eyes and asked, neither too quickly nor too slowly. So, which kind are you, young Minister Chui? The fake Jin Bai still refused to admit it, pretending not to understand her question. This humble official does not understand the county princess's words. She didn't explain further. She leaned forward, resting lightly on the tea table, and smiled faintly. Young Minister Chui, are you feeling dizzy? He also realized that something was wrong in this room. The scene before his eyes suddenly became blurry. He couldn't distinguish reality. Jinbai tried to grip the wooden table beside him tightly, raising one hand to his forehead, trying to hold on to some clarity. Why am I suddenly dizzy? I can't maintain my reason. Could it be? She has slowly stood up, approaching him to assess the situation. It seems this saffron soft bone incense of mine is quite effective. Caning, imprisonment, beheading. Young Minister Chui, which do you feel suits you? As she spoke, she grabbed his hand tightly to prevent him from escaping. Then she turned and called out loudly, MOU, come here and arrest this impersonator of a court official. Suddenly, a hand from behind wrapped around Shia's neck, catching her off guard. The fake Jin Bai, now trying to hold on to the last bit of his sanity, pulled her tightly into his embrace. MOU happened to enter at that moment. She pointed her sword at the impersonator and shouted, let go of the county princess. He covered Shiha's mouth, but still asked her solicitously, "Are you all right?" Shiha looked at him, completely unaffected by her anesthetic, her face full of surprise. How can this be? Once one breathes it in, the fragrance enters the body and is irresistible. Moreover, this is not a poison. Even someone immune to 100 poisons cannot resist it. The fake Jinbai stared at her, smiling lightly as if he had known the truth all along. I thought the county princess would unmask me herself, so I pretended to play along to amuse the county princess. The fake Jinbai sat on the wooden couch, holding Shiha completely in his embrace as he continued, or to get a chance to steal a kiss, but unfortunately, the county princess did not give me that opportunity. A flustered Shiha spoke up, "Who on earth are you?" While trying to stall for time, she had taken a sharp object from her sleeve, preparing to attack him. Jinbai answered Shia's question, "You want to know, but I'm only honest with my future wife. If the county princess is willing." Suddenly, he cried out, let go of Shiha, and retreated, clutching his abdomen where something had just stabbed him. Mou also quickly slashed at him with her sword. "Villain, take this." However, the fake Jinbai quickly dodged it. Jinbai retreated, grabbing the tablecloth. Then he swung it forcefully towards Mou, forcing her to step back. Immediately after, he hastily jumped through the window and escaped before the eyes of the two women. Mou shouted angrily, "Stop!" Just as she was about to chase after the impersonator, she has stopped her. Shiha looked at the large window where the man had just escaped. No need to chase him. He is still wearing an official's robe, so he is still a member of the Court of Judicial Review. We cannot pursue a court official in broad daylight. Mou had no choice but to obey. Yes, Shiha looked at the sharp pin she had just used to attack him. What a pity. The self-defense pin my brother gave me only has an anesthetic on it. If only it were poison. Outside the magnificent palace, the sun was high in the sky, its light reaching every nook and cranny. The fake Jinbai, after escaping from Shia's room, began to be affected by the anesthetic and staggered as he walked. Tian Yuan and the real Jinbai were very surprised to see him in such a pathetic state, and they both ran to support Hua Yong. Tian Yuan quickly spoke up, "Your Highness, were you unwell? I will immediately go and fetch Mr. Yu." Hua Yong could no longer stand straight and had to kneel on the ground to rest. He waved his hand. Just a little anesthetic, no need for such trouble. After all, she's just a young lady who hasn't come of age. She's kind-hearted, that's all. Hearing this, Tian Yuan had a puzzled expression. She thought to herself, "Master, you're about to collapse, and you still think she's kind-hearted." As if understanding Tian Yuan's thoughts, Hua Yong slowly opened his eyes and smiled lightly. However, for this kind of life-saving trick, why use an anesthetic instead of poison? Then he turned to the real Jinbai and said, "Shui Jinbai, the imperial father is still waiting for your answer. You just need to report that Ling Long was a spy sent by Prince Kang's residence to be by County Princess Chowning's side." Jinbai immediately complied, yes. Tian Yuan beside them was still worried about Hua Yong's health. "Master, are you really all right?" The image of him holding her captive in his lap appeared in Hua Yong's mind. He couldn't help but laugh. Truly, the stranger she gets, the more I like her. Outside the main gate of the capital city, many people were gathered for a market. She had gently lifted the curtain of her sedan chair, looked outside, and sighed silently. Capital city, I've finally returned. As the procession of carriages moved forward, a voice suddenly rang out, "Procession ahead, make way." Mo Yuan, who was on horseback, had to turn back to look. Ding Ju, who was galloping towards them on his horse, shouted louder, "Make way." Suddenly, Mo Yuan flew forward, catching Ding Ju by surprise and giving him no time to dodge. Then he landed, and in the same motion, pushed Ding Ju off his horse. Immediately after, both Ding Ju and his horse fell to the ground. From somewhere, a large, fat woman ran over with her servant, shouting, "Ding Ju." The servant beside her pointed at Shiha, who was being helped down from her sedan chair by her own servant. "How dare you, you lowly commoner? Do you know that the person you just knocked over is the young master of the Marquis of Jinbei? We told you to make way. Why didn't you move?" Suddenly, he was slapped so hard his nose started bleeding. It was Shiha who had struck. She held a horsewhip in her hand, her expression nonchalant. "I can be even more daring. Would you like to witness it?" The servant couldn't believe his eyes. He quickly rubbed the cheek that had just been hit. Frightened, "Why did you hit me? How outrageous." Then, he immediately drew the sword in his hand and shouted, "I'll fight you. Even my father has never hit me like that." However, before he could strike, he was sent flying backward by a kick from Mo Yuan. He pressed the servant's head firmly to the ground. The servant quickly shouted, "Let me go." The onlookers, seeing the situation was not good, quickly warned each other, "Let's run." The crowd quickly dispersed. Mo Yuan turned back to ask for Shiha's opinion. "County Princess, how should we deal with these people?" Shiha, still holding the whip, gave an order, "Take them to the court of judicial review." She glanced at the servant being held down on the ground. "Someone has already set the stage for me. How can I possibly disappoint her?" Ziyu, standing behind, finally spoke up timidly. "County Princess, do you mean this commotion was deliberately arranged?" Shiha then handed the whip to a servant beside her and calmly said to Ziyu, "Dingju's horse had the scent of Tagara incense on it. A horse that has been exposed to Tagara incense cannot be reined in." An image of Consort Kong suddenly appeared in her mind, and Shiha thought to herself, Tagara incense is a tribute from a foreign country. It is an extremely fine spice that can be used to create a stimulating fragrance. The only person who would use such an insidious yet slick method, and who hates me so much, is Consort Kong. Thinking of this, Shiha let out a cold snort and said to Ziyu, "Since she couldn't help but deliver herself to my doorstep, then I shall grant her wish." The sky was gradually turning to noon. Inside the building of the Court of Judicial Review, Xie Cheng, the third-rank minister of the Court of Judicial Review, respectfully greeted Shiha. This subordinate, Xie Cheng, pays his respects to the county princess. Shiha also bowed politely in return. She began, "Minister Xie, Zhaoning has come here to report the person who framed Zhaoning." The crowd of onlookers in the courtyard was stunned upon hearing Shiha's true identity. Whispers began to spread. "What? She's a county princess?" Framing a county princess is a major crime punishable by 10 years in prison. After hearing Shiha's accusation, Xie Cheng's face filled with a mixture of indignation and fear. He shouted, "Who would be so audacious? County princess, please tell me the whole story. This subordinate will punish them severely and hand over every single one to the princess." Shiha remained calm and continued to describe the situation that had just occurred. "Just now at the city gate, the third young master's carriage lost control and hit me, and that horse was agitated by the scent of Tagara incense." Hearing this, Xie Cheng considered it with a serious expression. Tagara incense could be stuffed into a crevice of the carriage. A servant nearby came to report at that moment. "My lord, the third young master of the Marquis of Zhenbei said that before his carriage went out of control, he did indeed smell a strange odor." Xia then voiced her own suspicion. Zhaoning suspects that someone saw Zhaoning at the city gate and deliberately tampered with the third young master's carriage. If so, why apply the substance at this hour, and not early in the morning or late at night? Hearing this, Xie Cheng nodded in agreement with Shiha. What the county princess says is reasonable and logical. Then this subordinate will find the evidence. Shiha cut him off before he could finish. There is no need for Minister Xie to trouble himself with the evidence. Bring a basin of water over here. She then opened her palm, revealing a carefully wrapped paper packet inside. "I have a type of fragrant powder in here. When poured into water, the water will change color if it comes into contact with Tagara incense. My lord can have everyone come over and test it." After speaking, Shiha poured the white powder wrapped in the paper into the basin on the table. Xie Cheng reached out to test the basin of water in front of him. When he placed his finger in the water, that part of the water suddenly began to turn red. Xie Cheng realized with a start, indeed, it is so. After testing it, he ordered his servants to bring the basin of water for everyone to try. Everyone, form a line. Dip your hands into the water one by one. This is to find evidence to clear your own names. The servants carrying the water reminded everyone to line up. Meanwhile, something suddenly caught Shiha's attention. It turned out that among the crowd lining up, one person was trying to wipe his hands on his clothes to remove any traces. Shiha walked over, pointed at him, and said loudly, "It's him." Mou quickly restrained him. He shouted in fear, "What do you want to do?" "It wasn't me. I didn't do it." Without listening to his explanation, she immediately plunged his hand into the basin of water. Sure enough, the green water gradually turned red. The man's face turned pale, and he stammered a confession. It was Ding Ji. "He gave me 300 taels. He told me to sprinkle the powder on Ding Ju." The man pointed at Ding Ji and shouted louder and louder. "That's right. He gave me the fragrant powder himself. His hands must be contaminated with the powder too." Mou, as quick as a flash, grabbed his hand and plunged it into the water. A flicker of surprise crossed Ding Ji's face, but he did not resist. Mou's expression suddenly turned grim. She reported to Shiha, "County princess, the water has changed color." He does indeed have the pollen on him. Ding Ji then slowly began to explain himself. I did it because I hate my younger brother, Ding Ju, and wanted him dead, so I instructed someone to place the Tagera incense under his carriage. This is an internal conflict within our Marquis of Jinbei's residence. I had no idea County Princess Zhaoning was at the city gate. Suddenly, a weak voice rang out. Is ignorance a claim to innocence? Xia immediately turned to look with a surprised expression. Hua Yong was being supported by Tian Yuan as he approached. He covered his face, looking frail. Xia looked back at the man before her. The crown on this man's head could only be worn by a prince. I have met all the princes of the Yuning Emperor, except for one. The people in the court immediately knelt down when they saw him arrive, greeting him respectfully. We pay our respects to your highness, the crown prince. Hua Yong maintained his tired demeanor and said to everyone, there is no need for formalities. Xia, standing beside them, was suddenly at a loss for words. She wondered to herself, why has his highness the crown prince appeared here? Hua Yong exposed him. Harming a royal, with the intent of provoking conflict between two residences, are crimes that will naturally be punished. Ding Ji, terrified, prostrated himself on the ground and begged, Your Highness, please forgive me. It was a moment of folly. I was jealous that my third brother was favored by our father, which led me to make this mistake. On the surface, he said this, but in his heart, he had no intention of repenting. The crown prince is here. This matter seems to have escalated. Hua Yong had no intention of forgiving him. He covered his mouth and said weakly, the victim is the county princess. It is all for the county princess to decide. Although unwilling, Ding Ji had to force himself to beg for mercy. I asked for the county princess's leniency. Shen Shiha had always lived by reason. She was not easily swayed. I'll not want to stand by and watch someone die, but I am no fool either. Young Master Ding Ji, if you want my leniency, then you must tell the truth. Ding Ji's hands clenched on the ground. Unresigned, he was about to retort, County Princess, I'll speak. Tian Yuan cut him off. She genuinely wants to advise you. Ding Ji, you should think carefully. Your mother and sisters, what would they do without you? And then there's the third young master you injured. Tian Yuan continued to question him. How has the Marquise treated you? Shiha and Mo you remained silent, hoping Ding Ji would be honest. Finally, agitated, he blurted it out. It was Chun Jing. He was the one who told me the county princess was entering the city today. Shiha judged fairly, seeing that you have not made too great a mistake. You were sentenced to 5 strokes of the cane, a minor punishment to serve as a warning. Do you accept? Outwardly calm, her mind could not rest. The Marquis of Shuangping's residence, just as I thought. The Marquis of Shuangping's residence is the ancestral home of Consort Xiao. The current Marquis of Xianping must be Consort Zhao's cousin. Only now was Ding Ji genuinely repentant. I submit wholeheartedly. Thank you for the county princess's mercy in sparing my life. After saying this, he kowtowed once. Everything was finally over. Everyone had left. Shiha expressed her thanks to Hua Yong. Thank you, Your Highness, for upholding justice for Zhaoning. Hua Yong paid no mind to what had just happened. He spoke cheerfully. The county princess is our guest. The county princess has come from the distant northwest. How can we let the county princess suffer any grievance and chill the hearts of the northwest soldiers? Shiha replied tactfully, it has been a long and arduous journey. Zhaoning will return to the residence first. Tomorrow, upon entering the palace, I will go to the Eastern Palace to pay my respects to Your Highness. Hua Yong agreed happily. Then I shall respectfully await the county princess at the Eastern Palace. His words made Shiha blush with embarrassment. I was just making a polite remark. This prince looks so bright and intelligent. How can he be so unable to read people's expressions? Afterward, Hua Yong and Tian Yuan turned to leave. She said worriedly, Your Highness, just now, what if the county princess misunderstands and thinks you are too forward in your speech? Hua Yong simply instructed calmly. In the future, do not act smart in front of her. Like just now, when you threatened Ding Ji, you should not have been the one to say it. Hua Yong was confident in his thinking. She doesn't like intelligent people, especially as a lifelong partner. Being too intelligent makes her feel they are difficult to handle and creates distance. The next morning in the capital, at the Northwest King's Manor, a voice called out, County Princess, this old servant has had everything arranged properly. Butler Qing was enthusiastically guiding Shiha. If there is anything not to your liking, please just tell this old servant. Shiha replied politely, Thank you for your trouble, Butler Qing. Suddenly, a voice echoed from a distance. Tao Hong, I'm a little cold. Go get me a cloak. Shiha looked over, stunned, only to see that woman, Consort Xiao, standing by the railing. Shiha quickly strode over to question her. Who allowed you to stay in the main courtyard? MOU, throw this person out of the courtyard for me. MOU immediately obeyed. Shiha considered. Only the mistress of the house is qualified to live in the main courtyard. Consort Xiao is merely a concubine, yet she dares to live in the main courtyard. Consort Xiao was still defiant. Shun Shiha, you dare. Before she could finish her sentence, her arm was grabbed. MOU had restrained Consort Xiao. She has stepped in front of her and threatened. Is there anything this county princess wouldn't dare to do? Chu Lin cheerfully tried to curry favor. Shiha Mudzumuoi, you can vent your anger however you like. You can beat him as you please, just leave him with a breath of life. The fat man on the ground, beaten black and blue, turned pale with fear. Shiha looked at him with disgust. Throw him out. Don't dirty my courtyard. Chu Lin obediently followed her order. As you command. Then she kicked the fat man out. Get lost. Chu Lin couldn't help but feel disgusted. This butcher knew there was only a weak young girl in the residence and wanted to climb the wall with illicit intentions. The fat man was thrown out. The crowd, knowing the reason, vied to curse him and throw vegetables and eggs. The beast got what he deserved. Worse than a dog. A person like this doesn't deserve a good death. Chu Lin walked back inside, satisfied. Shiha looked over and told her sit down. Chu Lin warily observed the teacup on the table. It's not poisoned, is it? Shiha said calmly. No, you did nothing wrong. Chu Lin was surprised. You're not going to call me nosy this time? Shiha lowered her head and smiled faintly. I won't. You don't need to be like this either. Shun Shiha thought pensively. Chu Lin is venting anger on my behalf, but my issue with the dandy young master of the Marquis of Xianping is already over. This matter, more or less, cannot be mended. Chu Lin suddenly made a request. Shiha Mujimuoi, why don't you marry me? She asserted with firm confidence. Marrying me is very beneficial, you know. I will take you from the great desert of the Northwest, across the deep plateau, and travel throughout the classic lands of the Shu Kingdom. We won't care about troublesome matters anymore. Whatever you want to do, I will follow you, protect you, and let you decide. Shiha also cleverly retorted, heir apparent, if you dare to propose to his majesty, then I dare to marry. She said this because she had her own calculations in her heart, but this was clearly impossible. Once the Northwest King's Manor and the Shunan King's Manor formed an alliance, Emperor Yuning would certainly lose sleep over it. Chu Lin shared her thoughts. The world thinks that having power is good, but they don't know that we lose our freedom because we are trapped by our own power. Shiha approached Chu Lin and offered advice. Why must you be hurt? You feel that commoners are carefree and at ease, but you don't know that they can lose their homes and families due to poverty. Shiha's thoughts were profound. Born into nobility, we should be grateful in our hearts. As for the path beneath our feet, we must forge it ourselves. If we encounter thorns, we just have to cut them all down. The conversation was interrupted by Ziyu's announcement. County Princess, Dr. C has arrived and is waiting for you in the main hall. Hearing this, Chu Lin stood up to leave. Sister Shiha, I understand. You have a guest. I'll leave first. I'll come find you another day. Shiha agreed. All right. At the Northwest King's Manor's villa, in the main hall, Shiha and Ziyu went to welcome the guests together. Xie Yunhuai saw them from a distance. He immediately greeted her respectfully. Yunhuai pays his respects to the princess. Not want to stand on ceremony, Xie helped him up. Dr. C, please sit down quickly. Afterwards, Yunhuai took Xia's pulse. He focused on his diagnosis. The county princess's constitution was previously insufficient, internally not as healthy as an ordinary person. Later, due to being overly pampered, it led to a deficiency in the liver and kidneys. Then he prescribed medicine for her, carefully reminding her, the bone-shedding pill has sufficient harmonious qi, but strong dryness qi. County Princess, you need to use snow water as a guide for the medicine. This is the white plum snow water that Yunhuai has stored. If the County Princess needs to take the medicine, please use this. Ziyu quickly brought the medicine to Shiha. County Princess, the bone-shedding pill has been prepared according to Dr. C's instructions. In a room, Shiha groaned in pain. Her body was reacting to the medicine, trembling uncontrollably. It was as if two forces of ice and fire were fiercely clashing within her body. Worried, Yunhuai offered a handkerchief to Shiha. County Princess, bite on the handkerchief. It might lessen the pain. She has still tried to endure. No need. I can. I can bear it. Shia could clearly feel the pain in her body. The taste of suffering was slowly easing. I endured it at its most painful. I can endure it in the future too. Besides, every time I take it in the future, I won't be able to avoid such agony. The reason Shiha was so resolute was to serve her dream. As long as I can endure this, in the future I can be like my father and elder brother, riding freely on the grasslands, becoming one with the wind. A new day arrived at the imperial palace. Shia was deep in thought. Yuning came and pulled me into a conversation for a whole hour, but he didn't mention a single word about the Shao family's matter. As expected, he is still covering for the Shao family. Zhu, walking beside her, asked for her opinion. County Princess, should we prepare the carriage to return to the manor and rest now? Dr. C once said that after you take the bone-shedding pill, although your pulse is stronger than before, you still cannot overexert yourself. The pain from yesterday flooded back to Shiha. Last night, after taking the bone-shedding pill, I went through an ordeal. Luckily, the bone-shedding pill is effective. My pulse has also shown good improvement. I hope this congenitally weak body can get better soon. But she still made her own decision because of yesterday's promise. Not returning to the manor for now. I'll go to the Eastern Palace to greet the Crown Prince first. She thought that since she had agreed yesterday, she naturally had to make a trip there to fulfill the etiquette. As soon as they arrived, Hua Yong was already waiting. His eyes lit up with joy when he recognized her figure. He hurried out to welcome her. You're here. I thought you weren't coming. Shia cautiously performed her curtsy. Zhaoning pays her respects to the Crown Prince. Not wanting the formality, Huayong quickly replied, no need for courtesies. But the very next second, Shia hinted at wanting to leave. Thank you, Crown Prince. Since I have paid my respects to your highness, then Zhaoning. Huayong didn't let her finish and quickly turned away. Understanding the situation, Tian Yuan ran to support him. Your Highness, the wind is so strong here. Please invite the County Princess into the hall to talk. Unable to refuse, Shiha could only feel helpless. I thought I could leave right after paying my respects. Never mind, I won't argue with a hopelessly lovesick person. Shiha strolled with Hua Yong on the bridge, with Ziyu naturally following behind. Shiha initiated the conversation, the Manjin Terrace. Your Highness is truly an elegant person. Taking the opportunity of being praised, Hua Yong replied comfortably. The County Princess is indeed profoundly learned to even know of the Manjin Terrace. At night, the Manjin Terrace here will emit a golden light, incomparably beautiful. If there's a chance in the future, I intend to invite the County Princess to come and enjoy it. Shia pondered thoughtfully, inviting me to enjoy the garden. The only women who can stay in the palace at night are high-ranking consorts. The Crown Prince's purpose is a bit too obvious. Then she immediately refused. Thank you for the Crown Prince's kindness. Huayong clutched his heart in pain. She didn't agree. Tian Yuan quickly comforted him. The flirtation was rejected. Your Highness, don't cry. After the tour, they both sat down to enjoy tea. Huayong graciously invited, it's almost noon. I have prepared some tea. Please have a taste, County Princess. The light refreshment table that Huayong had someone prepare was quite thoughtful. He took the initiative to pour the tea. This is tea that I grew with my own hands. I hope the County Princess does not dislike it. Xia also had words of praise for Huayong. Your Highness is skilled at brewing tea. This is the best tea I have ever drunk. Huayong opened up and told his story. When I was young, I went through a major illness. Afterwards, I couldn't overexert myself. I was no match for my brothers in either literature or martial arts. My imperial father pitted me and always pushed my brother's progress. I felt guilty in my heart, so I just let go of those things. Hua Yong continued to ramble on. In all these years, the only thing I have persisted in is brewing tea, so I have some expertise in it. She has shared her thoughts. Learning literary and martial arts is for the imperial family. Your Highness, you do not need to learn these things. These things will be presented before you. Hua Yong was moved. County Princess, you are the first person to say these words to me. Xia completely empathized with Hua Yong. It must be because we are fellow sufferers. The reason she said this was because of their similar weak bodies, their shared longing for distant things, and their mutual love for flowers and plants. Seeing an opportunity, Hua Yong took the chance to ask, fellow sufferers, you say? Then the item the County Princess gave me, How do you hope I will handle it? Xia fell silent, lost in thought. The item is the evidence taken from Xiao Changjing's hands? No wonder a month has passed, and this matter has not been decided. It turns out Xiao Huayong has been holding it all along, not letting it go. I must have overcomplicated human hearts to feel that I can't see through the person in front of me. Or perhaps he was always this deep and unfathomable. Huayong sat politely at the table, speaking softly on the surface. County Princess, compared to my older and younger brothers, I may not be considered intelligent, but I am not a fool. But the County Princess saved my 9th brother, so the evidence was brought by her. Xihe looked at him with eyes full of suspicion and asked back, "Doesn't your Highness feel that I am cunning and intend to stir up a dispute between your Highness and His Highness Prince Lai?" Huayong shook his head and smiled helplessly. What ill intentions could the County Princess possibly have? I know the County Princess's circumstances are beyond her control, yet she is unwilling to yield. In all these years, the County Princess is the first person to place hope in this Crown Prince, who is one in name only. For this regard from the County Princess, I will definitely do my utmost to see things through for you. She sighed with a sorrowful face and asked, "Is your Highness truly willing?" Huayong slowly explained, "I'm not a long-lived person. Instead of wasting my mind and energy pursuing illusory things, it is better to cherish what is before me and live each day happily. However, just because I don't compete doesn't mean I will sit back and wait for death. Otherwise, how could the item the County Princess gave me still be in my hands right now?" On the surface, he said this, but in his heart, he thought, weakness must have its limits. Otherwise, this little girl will think I don't even have the strength to protect myself. I'm afraid she'll see me as useless. She glanced at him and couldn't help but assess. This is the true bearing of a son of heaven. Xihe raised her wine cup and said respectfully, "Since the item has been given to your Highness, it is entirely up to your Highness to decide." He turned back, also holding a wine cup, thinking with a blank expression, this little girl is truly so clear-headed that I have to look at her in a new light. I pour my heart out, yet she isn't swayed in the slightest. Huayong said softly, "Then I will give the item to my second brother." Second brother is an upright person and will absolutely not let private matters interfere with public duty. The sky was turning towards noon. Tian Yuan asked in confusion, "Your Highness, the County Princess has already left the palace." "Your Highness, why did you even deceive the County Princess?" The most precious thing between a husband and wife is sincerity. Although your Highness and the County Princess are not husband and wife now, if the County Princess finds out in the future, how will your Highness explain it? He tilted his chin and answered confidently, "Although I was fake, she wasn't real either." He thought to himself, the difference is that I clearly know she is acting, but she may not have seen that I was only pretending the whole time. Huayong smiled and added, "Tian Yuan, if a wolf wants to eat a sheep, a smart sheep, how do you think it should be hunted? Of course, it must disguise itself as the thing that sheep likes to eat the most." In the capital city, at the Northwest King's Manor's villa, the scenery was quiet but peaceful. Xihe and Ziyu walked together along the quiet, noiseless corridor. She thought, not foolish but not cunning, gentle and understands etiquette, lenient but not incapable of anger. Xiao Huayong is too perfect a fit for my requirements. Everything going so smoothly makes me worried. She gently stepped into the room. But as if sensing something, she looked around and thought to herself, why is there a smell of camphor in my room? It seems someone is hiding in the room, and a familiar one at that. She had gently opened the lid of a fragrant cup and told herself, then I will add a bit of fine fragrance and quietly watch what happens. A strong fragrance spread throughout the room. She sat relaxed, embroidering thoughtfully. Suddenly, from a corner, a clattering sound was heard. Not letting him escape, Mou flew in from the door like the wind, holding a sword pointed straight at him. He immediately dodged and fell sprawling to the ground. Just as Mou was about to stab him with the sword, she suddenly realized it was Changjing. From a distance, Xia's shout was suddenly heard. "Stop." She walked over and said calmly, "Your Highness Prince Lai, this humble servant girl's boudoir is not a place one can just enter as they please." He clutched his head in frustration. "Damn it, my head hurts so much." He asked resentfully, "When on earth did you poison me?" Mou, at the side, could no longer remain calm and asked in a loud voice, "County Princess, how should we handle this?" Shiha also gave a stern command, strip him of his clothes, and throw him in front of the gates of Prince Lai's manor. Changing nearly collapsed, his hands pressed against the stone wall. He snatched the sword from Mou's hand, striking straight towards Shiha and cursing, "Shun Shiha, you want to humiliate me? I won't let you have your way." Shiha immediately raised her hand, and something shot out from her wrist. It struck Changjing's hand, causing the sword that was lunging towards Shiha to fall as a result. His body trembled as he stammered, "What is this? Why can't I feel my hand anymore?" Changjing gritted his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. He squinted in pain, his head growing dizzier. He knelt completely at Shia's feet. She looked down at him and asked, "Wouldn't it have been better to surrender sooner?" Changjing asked softly, "Are you really going to throw me in front of the manor?" Shia stated seriously, "I have never made empty threats. Today I took a stroll through the Eastern Palace, and you rushed to find me like this. It's merely because you thought something happened between me and His Highness the Crown Prince." She had turned away without a backward glance. "You princes don't dare to ask for my hand in marriage, yet you don't want me to marry someone else. I don't have the ability to teach each and every one of you a lesson. Since you've delivered yourself to my doorstep, I'll have to use you to kill a chicken to scare the monkeys." As soon as she finished speaking, Changjing collapsed onto the floor, motionless. The next day, everyone was as lively as usual. However, the main topic today was Changjing. "I heard that yesterday, His Highness Prince Lai was stripped of his clothes by the Shan Manor's servants and thrown in front of his own manor's gates." The whole crowd immediately burst in a loud laughter. Everyone was laughing heartily, finding it hard to hide the smugness and surprise on their faces as they all chattered excitedly. "What? His Highness Prince Lai heard that County Princess Zhaoning was a nation-toppling beauty, so he ran off to take a peek. In the end, he got caught. Just how stunning is County Princess Zhaoning? It really makes one curious. This County Princess is truly formidable. Not only did she throw the Emperor's cousin out the door, but she also stripped the Emperor's son and threw him back to his manor." While everyone was buzzing with discussion, the Northwest King's manor villa was quiet and pleasant. Ziyu and Tian Yuan entered one after another, holding wooden food boxes in their hands. Ziyu said respectfully, "County Princess, the Eastern Palace has sent over a box of food." Tian Yuan also took the opportunity to immediately add, "County Princess, His Highness told this subordinate to bring food to you. He said that once his health improve a little, he will invite the County Princess to dine with him." Shiha asked with concern, "What's wrong with His Highness? Is his health not good?" Ziyu and Tian Yuan turned their heads in unison, and Tian Yuan replied, "Early this morning, the sixth prince paid a visit to the Eastern Palace, angering His Highness the Crown Prince so much that he coughed up blood. He is now resting in bed." Shiha narrowed her eyes in anger. The sixth prince dared to anger the Crown Prince to the point of coughing up blood? Very well, the gifts have been received. It seems I really must make a trip to the Eastern Palace today. A moment later, she and Ziyu were at the Eastern Palace. Unexpectedly, she also came across Changyu kneeling with a sad face in front of the main hall. Ziyu at her side couldn't help but sigh. So the sixth prince can look so heroic. Shiha let out a sarcastic remark. Sons of heaven, with their myriad graces. In this capital, the one thing that is not lacking is talented men and beautiful women. A sound suddenly came from outside the door. Tian Yuan announced, "Your Highness, County Princess Zhaoning has arrived." Huayong immediately sat up, picked up the medicine bowl, and called out, "County Princess." In less than 5 seconds, he was pouting like an aggrieved child, rushing towards her. "Sixth brother has improper thoughts. County Princess must be wary of him." She gently pushed him to lie back down. "Your Highness, please don't get agitated. Everything was fine. How did Your Highness suddenly get so angry you coughed up blood?" Tian Yuan at the side immediately spoke up. "It's all the sixth prince's fault. Yesterday, right after the County Princess left, the sixth prince sent someone to invite His Highness the Crown Prince to watch a football match." She silently deduced, "The Crown Prince's body is weak. He must be extremely careful even when walking. Inviting him to watch football, isn't that just trying to hurt his legs?" Huayong whipped his head around and shouted, "What does he want to invite me to watch football for? He just wanted an excuse to see the County Princess. So today, I summoned him to the Eastern Palace to question him why he still wants to provoke the County Princess when he clearly already has a woman he fancies." She had turned purple with anger, gritting her teeth as if she wanted to eat him alive. "So you specially called me here to argue, and instead made yourself so angry you coughed up blood?" Xia didn't understand what Hua Yong said, so she asked again, "Who is the person in the sixth prince's heart?" Hua Yong leaned against the pillow, coughed lightly, and replied, "It's the court dancer, Bian Xiani." The image of an exquisitely beautiful and enchanting dancer in a long, flowing yet seductive dress appeared in Xia's mind. She looked at him, her voice as if she had understood everything. "Bian Xiani? So that's how it is." Outside in the palace courtyard, Chang Yu was still kneeling under the harsh sun, his posture unyielding. Bian Xiani is on the musician's registry, so there would be no problem if Xiao Changyu wanted to take her as a concubine. But if he wanted her to be his principal wife, then he could only marry a high-born noble lady first. After the official wife dies, he could then promote Bian Xiani to be the succeeding wife. Changyu noticed someone approaching. He opened his eyes slightly to observe the situation. Shiha was now standing before him. She looked down at him and spoke in a calm voice. "Sixth Prince, Zhaoning has always only liked people who are useful to me, and I detest being used by others the most. Marry a wife to take her life, then promote a concubine to be the wife. You dream a beautiful dream." Changyu felt a little guilty and, for a moment, didn't know how to explain himself. She didn't give him a chance to explain. She glided past him. "If there's a next time, then you can just wait and see. See if I kill Bian Xini faster, or if you two can wait for me to die and be together faster." Outside the imperial palace, Missouri, you had already prepared a carriage for Shiha. She reported to Shiha, "County Princess, that person has indeed gone to Jinfu Temple to offer incense." Upon hearing this, Shiha praised MOU. "Very good." Then she ordered the carriage to start moving, setting off for Jinfu Temple. At Jinfu Temple, the temple was rather deserted. Consort La was currently praying at the temple with her servant. Suddenly, a voice called out to her. Consort La Shiha and Ziyu had also just arrived. She raised her hand to greet the consort, a faint smile on her lips. Consort La frowned slightly and asked, "Who are you?" Shiha approached her step by step, her voice calm. "Who I am is not important." She walked right up to Consort La, leaning in to look closely at her face. "What's important is that I know who you are. Should I call you consort? Or should I call you Xiao Dai?" The consort's face clearly showed fear upon having her old identity discovered by the person before her. She stammered and asked back, "How do you know me?" Shiha leaned close to her ear, her voice just loud enough for only the two of them to hear. 10 years ago, you were gifted to Prince Kong, and you climbed from an unranked concubine straight to the position of consort law recently. The court wants to reopen the investigation into the Rouge case. If I remember correctly, your background and Miss Rouge's are the same. All this information is clearly recorded on that list of Xiao changings. She has stood up straight, her voice louder. "If you want to keep your life, I can help you." However, Consort La, her face full of anxiety, hurriedly asked Xia back, You want me to do something?" Having come this far, she had no longer beat around the bush. She stated her purpose directly. "I want to know what thoughtless things Prince Kong has done. Whether it's enough to save your life will depend on your sincerity." Upon hearing this, Consort La hesitated slightly. She tightened her grip on the handkerchief in her hand, silently calculating the benefits. Right now, His Majesty is paying close attention to the Rouge case. If my identity is exposed, Prince Kong will absolutely not protect me. At that time, my death will be a certainty. After a few minutes of thought, she decided to tell Shiha everything in hopes of saving her own life. "I only know that a few years ago, Prince Kong secretly forged weapons. I can find out the location of the weapon forge for you." Having achieved her goal, Shiha turned to leave. Before leaving, she didn't forget to praise her with a sentence. "Truly a smart person." Consort La called after her worriedly. "How will you save me?" She had turned her head to look at her and smiled lightly. "The Rouge case must be strictly investigated. If you want to keep your life, there is only one way. The cicada shedding its shell. Prince Kong is in an uproar over the rat infestation, and you've been praying for this matter recently, haven't you?" Upon hearing this, the consort shouted in fear. Could it be that those rats were you? Shiha did not deny it. "It seems my rat guiding is quite useful." Before leaving, Shiha kindly showed Consort La a way out of danger. "Isn't that Xiao lady staying at Prince Kang's manor for a few days? Go back now and spread a rumor. Say she's a jinx, that these rats were brought by her." Consort La was smart enough to understand the plan Shiha had laid out for her. "You mean you want me to provoke the Xiao lady to make her kill me? This is indeed a good method. After Shiha left, she stood there motionlessly, continuing to plot the upcoming plan. If the Shao lady kills me, the people of Prince Kang's manor will definitely rush to cover it up. Under the guilt, it will be easy to exploit loopholes. By the time the Rouge case breaks, I will already be a dead person, and it will be impossible to pursue the matter any further. At the Eastern Palace, Tian Yuan was reporting the situation to Huayong. Your Highness, the county princess has met Yu Shaodai. Huayong was currently sitting on the couch, his chin resting on his hand nonchalantly. A faint smile appeared on his face. When Zhaoning handed the evidence to me, she specifically erased Yu Xiaodia's information. She's finally about to make her move. Tian Yuan continued to report. Based on Second Brother's ability, he can find the evidence for the Rouge case in 3 days at the latest. All arrangements in various places have been properly made. Tian Yuan stood up straight, looking at Huayong with a respectful expression. The officials in various places loyal to your Highness have already captured those involved in the Rouge case. Now we just need the Rouge case to break to hand over the people and claim the credit. At Shiha's palace, Missouri Yu was reporting the situation to her. County Princess, Yu Shaodai has sent a message. In MOU's hand was a neatly rolled up map. This is the map she drew showing the way to Prince Kang's weapon forging location. Shiha examined the map that had just been delivered and asked MOU, when does she plan to make her move? MOU replied, tonight. Shiha folded the map and handed it to MOU. Inside this is a type of incense that can bewitch a person's mind. You give it to Yu Shaodai. Tonight, you and Heiyu will cooperate with her with all your strength. MOU received the map. As you command. The sky gradually darkened. At Prince Kang's manor, Lady Kong angrily shoved open the palace door. She shouted loudly, how dare a mere consort-law like you? It was you who spread the rumor, calling me a jinx. She advanced, grabbing the consort's clothes, wanting to settle the score. I am the emperor's own cousin, an imperially decreed county princess. Yet you dare to provoke me. I see you're tired of living. Consort Law maintained a calm demeanor in the face of her accusations. Could it be that you are not a jinx? Consort Law leaned closer to Lady Xiao, continuing to provoke her. Look at how much face you've made the prince's manor lose. A dignified county princess stooping to such lowly deeds, drugging someone, and even getting caught. Now you've been kicked out of the prince's manor, and you still have the face to live on. You even dare to run back to your maternal home. Lady Kong could no longer maintain her composure. She pulled out the hairpin from her hair, intending to stab it toward Consort Law. Shut up, she screamed, simultaneously stabbing the hairpin into the center of Consort LA's chest. You lowly thing, shut up for me. Unable to dodge in time, Consort Law was stabbed directly in the center of her chest by the hairpin. She tried to use her remaining strength to push Lady Kong away, shouting, you are the lowly one. Lady Kong was pushed and fell backward, letting out a pained groan. She raised a hand to rub her forehead. Immediately after, she looked toward Consort Law, who was now pinned to her chest by the hairpin, lying still without moving. Right after, a palace maid pushed the door open and entered. What was that noise, your ladyship? Are you all right? The palace maid saw everything before her face filled with terror. She quickly turned and ran outside, shouting murder. The next day, a secret carriage stopped in the middle of a desolate forest. She handed Consort Law a white cloth bag, instructing her, inside are new identity papers and some travel expenses. From now on, you will live a new life. Shiha looked at her, silently recalling the events of the previous day. Last night, after Yu Shaodai was killed by Lady Xiao, Princess Consort Kong put the body in an empty room. MOU took the opportunity to rescue Yu Shaodai, swapping her with another female corpse. Immediately after, that house was set ablaze and burned down with a torch. From now on, Consort Law no longer exists in this world. Consort Law knelt down, carefully kowtowing in gratitude to Shiha. Thank you. Before leaving, Shiha reminded MOU, tell MOU on to send someone to secretly escort Yu Shaodai. Also at this point, she handed MOU a small white vial. Take this antidote to Prince Kang's manor and put it in the food of the Law family. MOU looked at the small vial in her hand and asked Shiha, County Princess, wouldn't it be better to let Lady Xiao live a life worse than death in prison? Shiha calmly explained, as long as she is alive, variables exist. Only death is the end. In the quiet palace, Ban Huai was enjoying tea with Huayong. Huayong spoke first. He set down a teacup in his hand. I heard that you recently devised a new medicinal bath that can help County Princess Zhaoning take the bone-shedding pill without suffering any pain. Ban Huai enjoyed the fragrance from the teacup in his hand and smiled lightly. That is indeed the case. But the other day, I was still missing one top-grade Tianshan snow lotus. This type of Tianshan snow lotus only blooms on the peaks of snowy mountains. I am currently offering a reward for someone pick it. Hearing this, Hua Yong continued, I will find a way to get this medicinal herb for you. However, I must give you a word of warning. He held the teacup in his hand and looked directly into the eyes of the person sitting opposite him. She is mine. Hearing this, Ban Huai still calmly explained. This commoner's feelings for County Princess Zhaoning consist of admiration and respect. The only thing missing is romantic love. At this point, Ban Huai also looked back unflinchingly into Hua Yong's eyes. Besides, Your Highness, County Princess Zhaoning will not belong to anyone. The moon cast a gentle light in the dark night. The magnificent ancient manor was dotted with small points of light. County Princess, I heard that His Highness the Crown Prince's illness has recently worsened again. She has sat quietly before the mirror, letting Ziyu arrange her hair. She asked, why has it suddenly gotten worse? Ziyu replied, this servant doesn't know either. I only heard that the imperial physicians have devised a cure, but they are still missing one ingredient, a top-grade Tianshan snow lotus. She had turned her head and asked, what's the difference between this top-grade Tianshan snow lotus and a normal one? An image of a white, multi-petal flower with green leaves appeared. A normal Tianshan snow lotus is at most 1 qi long, but the flower of a top-grade Tianshan snow lotus is nearly 2 qi long. She exclaimed, I'm afraid it's rarely seen. Ziyu sighed. Indeed, for the sake of His Highness the Crown Prince, His Majesty has even posted a golden notice, offering 1,000 gold taels to anyone who can find the supreme Tianshan snow lotus, and has even sent the 6th prince out of the palace to personally search for the snow lotus. She had thought to herself, Emperor Yuning's favoritism for Hua Yong is always so flagrant, but his actions only lead to everyone's dissatisfaction with Hua Yong. Hua Yong himself must be well aware of this point. She smiled and continued her thought. Hua Yong is not only estranged from Emperor Yuning, but also not close to most of the other princes. In the future, the new banner lords will not hesitate due to so-called brotherly affection. This truly makes me respect him more and more. After thinking, Xia called out, Ziyu. Ziyu turned back. Yes. She propped her chin on one hand and said with a smile, have someone send a letter to the Hua residence in Luoyang. I want to discuss a business deal with Hua Taoyi. She calculated in her mind. If he could find out the location of a rare item like the fairy grass, then he can surely investigate the whereabouts of the top-grade Tianshan snow lotus. At the Eastern Palace, sunlight illuminated the residence. A voice echoed from within. Your Highness, last night Emperor Yuning received the ledgers for the Rouge case. He was enraged and sent people to the embroidered uniform guard, arresting all the high officials related to the case and throwing them in prison. Tian Yuan said respectfully, I have acted according to your plan, broke into the prison at midnight, and completed the matter you entrusted to me. Hua Yong slowly ate his meal, replying curtly. She continued. Also, news has arrived from the local area. The county princess wishes to meet Hua Fuhai. He stopped eating and turned his face up to ask, has she encountered some difficulty? Tian Yuan shook her head and replied, Your Highness, you once instructed not to tail the county princess, so I'm also unclear as to why the county princess suddenly wants to meet Hua Fuhai. The scene changes to Hua Yong writing with a brush. He smiled faintly, then Hua Yong handed her a letter. Have a shop's people deliver this to her. Tian Yuan took the letter, looking at him with puzzlement. Your Highness, although the capital is close to Luoyang, you've already replied to the county princess on the 2nd day. Based on the county princess's intelligence, she will definitely figure out our special communication method. Hua Yong replied nonchalantly. It doesn't matter. She will come to know more and more of my affairs in the future. Tian Yuan helplessly thought to herself. His Highness has always been cautious and thorough, but since meeting the county princess, he has become just a little bit like this, completely muddled. At a villa of the Northwest King's Manor in the capital, the trees and plants grew lushly, the scenery poetic and sentimental. She had took the letter and said with a frown, how did Hua Fuhai reply so quickly? Luoyang is 800 li from the capital. I sent the message to Luoyang yesterday. He should have received it tonight at the earliest. She smiled as if she had realized something. She had picked up her brush to write, thinking to herself, as expected, he is a powerful noble in the capital. She handed another letter to Ziyu, saying, Give this letter to the messenger waiting outside. Ziyu took the letter and replied, Yes, County Princess. Is there need to have someone follow the messenger? She had just smiled lightly. No need. Friendship is built on sincerity. The next day, flower petals fell gently, complementing the poetic bridge that crossed the lotus pond. Fuhai walked out onto the bridge where she stood. I wonder for what matter the County Princess has asked me here. She had turned her head and said, Hua Taui, you travel far and wide. I want to ask you to find a capable person for me, someone who can help me investigate the top-grade Tianshan Snow Lotus. He asked with curiosity. The County Princess needs the Tianshan Snow Lotus. Could it be for the Crown Prince of the Eastern Palace? She replied, Yes. As long as you can find a top-grade Tianshan Snow Lotus for me, I am willing to trade the Northwest Trade Zone for it. Fuhai looked at her. The Northwest Trade Zone holds the economic lifeline of the Northwest, because the people who trade goods are all fierce foreign tribes like the Tujue and the Hueha, so only the Northwest Army can keep them in check. This is holding power in the hands of the Shun family. He chuckled. In the past, 1,000 gold was spent for a beauty, County Princess. She had asked back, 1,000,000 for beauty? He said, It seems His Highness the Crown Prince is exceptionally handsome. She turned away, raising a hand to catch a falling petal as she answered. In terms of looks, no man in the world can surpass him. Hua Yong, who was disguised as Fuhai, felt his heart secretly blossom in delight, thinking, I've been praised by the County Princess. Caught off guard, he let out a light cough. County Princess, what if I don't agree? She had turned back and said seriously, Deputy Minister of the Embroidered Uniform Guard, the Court of Judicial Review, is that a heavy enough title? Although I have no proof, His Majesty is suspicious. If even a small rumor gets out, I'm afraid the Embroidered Uniform Guard will have to be purged, and Shui Jinbai's position as Deputy Minister of the Court of Judicial Review might not be guaranteed either. She smiled. I don't partner with others easily, but the person I want to partner with has no right to refuse. Fuhai wanted to renegotiate. The County Princess's heart is with His Highness the Crown Prince, yet you want to join forces with me, without even asking my identity. Aren't you worried that after His Highness the Crown Prince finds out, it will be disadvantageous for you? Shiha retorted his words. What did I say? I wanted to join forces with you. It's a cooperation, but only a temporary one of mutual benefit. If our interests conflict in the future, who wins and who loses will depend on our own methods. Fuhai gave a look as if he had seen through everything. If the County Princess has already thought about the future, I'm afraid you've also guessed that there's a prince behind me, or rather, that I am a prince. Why doesn't the County Princess choose me directly? She has said bluntly, I don't like to be duplicitous with smart people. He asked with curiosity. So the County Princess feels that His Highness the Crown Prince is a fool? Unable to hold back, she issued a warning. Hua Taui, watch your mouth. He is not like you all. I chose you as a current partner because I feel we don't need to fight each other too early lest someone else takes advantage of the situation. She pondered thoughtfully. To be able to infiltrate the Embroidered Uniform Guard in the Court of Judicial Review, the person before me must be a prince, but apart from Xiao Changqing, I have never had contact with any other prince. For a moment, I have no way of guessing who he is. Fuhai bowed in compliance. Since the County Princess has been so sincere, I have no path of retreat. Then I ask for your guidance in the future. By a cliff nearby, a carriage stood waiting. Tian Yuan ran quickly toward him. Your Highness, how did it go? What did the County Princess say to you? Huayong tore off the Fuhai mask, his face still holding a smile. He smoothed his hair. She said, I'm not like the others. She was bewildered, huh? She thought to herself, hey, could it be that the County Princess has revealed her feelings for His Highness? But His Highness is currently in the guise of Hua Taui. How could the County Princess fall for that Hua Taui fellow? Huayong walked over and tapped Tian Yuan on the head. She wants to give the Northwest Market District to Hua Fuhai, so that Hua Fuhai can find a top-grade Tianshan Snow Lotus for me. She rubbed the spot where she was tapped, turned around, and asked, Your Highness, are you this happy just because of this? He smiled affectionately. She is thinking of me, not hesitating to make a deal with a merchant for my sake. Shouldn't I be happy? The vast villa was filled with sunlight, making the space more vibrant and bright. A sumptuous meal was laid out on a table. A voice spoke up. Few as expected, it's still more comfortable staying at the County Princess's manor. A radiant Ziyu brought the food over. County Princess, a flavorful soup was placed on the table. This is a dish I made myself. Please have a taste. She took a taste. Beside her, Ziyu was immersed in a sense of accomplishment. Recently, not only have the County Princess's spirits improved, but her appetite has also gotten better. The bone-shedding pill has indeed improved her health. I must make more delicious dishes for the County Princess in the future. Moyu entered to report. County Princess, I have investigated several times based on the map you showed I provided. I finally found the secret weapons forge of Prince Kang's manor, but the place is protected by a large number of troops. She stopped eating and spoke. His Majesty has many heirs, and each of them is skilled in both literary and martial arts. Prince Kong wouldn't be so delusional as to think he could attain the throne. It's useless to him, yet he's spending so much effort. It can only be for His Majesty's sake. Ziyu asked in bewilderment. His Majesty is secretly forging weapons? But he is the supreme sovereign. When this world is not his, why would he need to secretly forge weapons like this? Shia took a small bite of pastry. If he's secretly manufacturing weapons, he must have also secretly formed an elite army. Whether it's for assassinations or for overthrowing the Northwest Army, it would be extremely useful. Ziyu was horrified. Overthrow the Northwest Army? Moyu was also surprised. The Northwest Army is the stabilizing force of the Northwest, and also the faith of the Northwest people. How could His Majesty? She nodded slightly, then stood up and walked to the side. How could His Majesty tolerate that in the eyes of the Northwest people, there's only a Cha? This is a challenge to imperial authority. She had gently touched a peach blossom. In recent years, because of the Northwest political power, His Majesty and Acha have long been like fire and water. At this moment, Mo Yuan appeared. He came in to announce, County Princess, the heir apparent of Prince Shunan, is outside the manor, requesting an audience. Chu Lin's face was pale. Sister Shiha, you have to save me. He sat down on a chair, holding his face. Today, Emperor Yuning has allowed Noble Consort Song to host a peach blossom banquet at Furong Garden, inviting the ladies of noble families. You will surely receive an invitation soon. But I've heard news that Consort Li intends to ask His Majesty at the banquet to decree a marriage between me and Princess Anling. Shiha, sitting beside him, found it hard to speak. After a long while, she finally said, Can you escape the fate of marrying a princess? She thought to herself, just as I cannot escape the fate of having to marry a prince, as the sole son of the Prince of Shunan, Chu Lin must also marry a princess. Chu Lin looked up with his glistening eyes. That's why I thought of coming to Sister Shiha for help. Tell me, if I marry the princess, won't His Majesty become suspicious? She didn't understand. What does that have to do with me? Chu Lin held up his fingers. 3,000. He added, as long as you can sort things out for me and Princess Anling, I will give the Northwest Army 3,000 sets of elite armor. Shiha agreed. All right, since you were so sincere, how could I refuse? She mused. The Prince of Shuanan's manor has a unique method for forging armor. The armor is light, yet sturdy. Acha has always been fond of it. Shia took a sip of tea. You're afraid of marrying the princess because you're worried your identity will be exposed. Then we must solve the problem from this root cause. Chu Lin's eyes lit up. Sister Shiha, have you thought a good plan? She pointed a finger, a man of fine style. She had calculated inwardly. I've thought of a prime candidate. This person will absolutely not expose it. She smiled. The Vice Minister of the Court of Judicial Review, Chui Jinbai. If you trust me, you just need to throw yourself at him at the banquet. Chu Lin blushed and stepped back. Furong Garden, a lively festival was being held here. Shiha was also present, but she couldn't focus, wondering how Chu Lin was doing. Nearby, the sound of an argument could be heard. Lady Wong, the cat you're raising is so adorable. Speaking of which, I heard a rumor that the Northwest is barren, and people there eat anything, even stewed cat. Shiha was drawn by the words and turned to look. The words just now came from Jiatzi, Chun Jiatzi. County Princess Zhaoning, you came from the Northwest. Have you also eaten stewed cat? Shiha asked back without reservation. A rumor. Where did you hear it from? Jiatzi is the legitimate daughter of the Marquis Xuanping's manor. She was inherently malicious. I don't remember clearly where I heard it, but the people of the Northwest are barbaric. Unwilling to let her walk all over her, Shiha boldly stepped forward. When the late emperor was still on the throne, the Tujue invaded more than 10 times a year, and the sons of the Northwest fought to resist the enemy. They fought resiliently, shedding blood and sacrificing their lives, just so that a person like Lady Chun could live such a carefree and meaningless life in the capital. Why do you have to call the barbaric? Shia's blunt threat made Jiazi's face turn pale. If it weren't for the brave warriors of the Northwest, you might be lying in a Tujue military camp right now, with nothing to cover your body. She gritted her teeth, about to retort. You. Then Lady Wang interjected. The county princess's words seemed to imply that the peace of the realm is all thanks to the Northwest. But in this prosperous and peaceful era, all civil and military officials have made contributions. The county princess seems a bit biased, doesn't she? Shiha argued single-handedly with the two malicious women. Lady Wang, Lady Chun insulted the Northwest. I was talking to her about the Northwest. If you want to discuss the peace of the realm, I would also like to know how much the Wang family has contributed to the realm. Yet Lady Wang disregards the etiquette of a noble family, speaking nonsense and condescendingly lecturing me. Being questioned left her speechless. Shun Shiha emphasized once more. Lady Wang, you and I have different upbringings. There's no need to force ourselves to get along. Then Shiha turned and walked away. From behind, a girl came running hurriedly. County Princess, can I walk with you? It was Jian Xiao. She quickly introduced herself. I am the 7th lady of the Shui family. My name is Jian Xiao, and my pet name is Qiao Qiao. I promise, I will definitely be good and won't bother you. I want to go with you. I don't want to stay with him. Shiha was bewildered. Qiao Qiao, while Jian Xiao was as obedient as a puppy. And that's me. Shiha finally recognized her. I remember now. The person I once had an appointment with. Jian Xiao tried to plead. Then can I come to the county princess's manor to find you? I absolutely won't bother you. But Shiha coldly refused. You can't. Jian Xiao stood stunned by the rejection. I was rejected by Sister County Princess. Jiazi, walking behind, mocked, wagging her tail to claim kinship, but the relative didn't even spare her a glance. The lady standing next to her also added fuel to the fire. Our families are at odds with the powerful and noble. She is someone who dares to insult our family's traditions. She must be taught a lesson. The scheming Jiazi elbowed and pushed Jian Xiao. Jian Xiao didn't know how to swim. She struggled with all her might, but no one came down to save her. Shiha was drawn by the screams. She calculated for a moment, then ordered MOU to find a bamboo pole. Jian Xiao was lucky enough to get ashore. Furious, she rushed towards Jiazi. Chun Jiazi actually pushed me into the water. But suddenly, someone grabbed her from behind. MOU also brought the pole. Princess, I found a bamboo pole. Shiha swung the pole in one motion, hitting Jiazi and causing her to stumble and fall into the lake. She tried to surface and cry for help. Each time, Shiha used the pole to push her head down. Another person among them tried to dissuade her. County Princess, please calm down. Someone could be killed. County Princess, Shiha questioned sternly. So you do know that someone could be killed? But if I want her life right now, do you think I would have to pay with my own? The lady knelt down, her face on the verge of tears. County Princess, it was I who was rude and offended you. I accept your punishment. I beg you to spare Jiazi's life. The lady turned pale as she thought. If Shen Shiha were to really drown, the Northwest King would have a myriad of ways to force the aggrieved party to back down. Then Jiazi, Emperor Yuning, walked over. Zhaoning, what happened? Shiha put down the bamboo pole. MOU, pull her up. MOU replied, yes. She bowed in greeting. Your Majesty. Then Shiha stood up straight, her eyes lowered. Today, Zhaoning had a small conflict with the young ladies of the Chun and Wang families, so I left to find a quiet place to relax. She turned to look at the shivering Jian Xiao. The 7th lady of the Shui family saw that I was alone and, fearing I was lonely, came to find me. I wanted to be alone, so I declined the 7th lady's kind intentions. Who would have known? When I returned, I saw the young lady of the Chun family deliberately push the 7th lady of the Shui family into the lake. Then Shiha turned to Jiazi and the other lady. She also said that the noble families do not get along with the powerful and aristocratic. That the 7th lady of the Shui family coming to find me was a disgrace to her family's honor. Zhaoning was angry, so I simply used the same method she used to bully the 7th lady of the Shui family to punish her. Then she looked at him. Your Majesty, she has said seriously. The young lady of the Chun family kept saying the Northwest is barbaric and also said that associating with me is a disgrace to her family's honor. I only argued a few sentences, and the young lady of the Wang family said I was elevating the Northwest and looking down on the young masters of the capital. She lowered her gaze, not looking directly at Emperor Yuning. Zhaoning wants to know who on earth gave them this arrogant attitude, making Zhaoning mistakenly think that Zhaoning and even the people of the Northwest are not your Majesty's subjects, but an ostracized and despised foreign tribe. The group of people behind him were surprised and thought to themselves, this county princess Zhaoning really dares to say anything. She even dares to be sarcastic towards His Majesty. Emperor Yuning was silent. She bowed down. However, Zhaoning has heard the saying that to raise a child without teaching them is the father's fault. A child's behavior and language convey the upbringing from their parents. Shiha continued, if I had not heard such nonsense, how could the harmony among the court officials be disturbed? I hope your Majesty will investigate thoroughly and not tolerate villains who have no regard for the sovereign or the common people. Marquis Xianping, Chenzhong, knelt down. Your Majesty, your subject is absolutely not disloyal. I failed to discipline my daughter strictly and am willing to accept punishment, but my loyalty to the throne is evident. My unworthy daughter spoke nonsense. It was absolutely not taught by me. Minister Wang Zheng also bowed. Your Majesty, the daughter of the Wang family does not understand politics. I raised an ignorant child, so she does not know the gravity of matters and spoke improperly. I hope your Majesty will mete out punishment. She smiled faintly. Lord Wang, Zhaoning has heard that esteemed families have a saying, be discreet in speech and swift in action. A daughter of the Wang family has made a mistake, and Lord Wang cannot simply dismiss it with a claim of misspeaking. She has violated the family rules of the gentry clans, smeared the face of the gentry clans, and damaged the noble conduct of the gentry clans. Minister Wang Zheng replied, the county princess is right. The Wang family will certainly punish the daughter who violated our clan rules severely. Emperor Yuning stroked his beard. Marquis Xianping has been lax in his discipline. He is fined 1 year's salary to reflect and repent. As for the young lady of the Wang family's slip of the tongue, we trust that Minister Wang will discipline her strictly. Everyone listened in silence. A prosperous country and a peaceful populace, a tranquil world. This is the wish of us and all of you, ministers. It is your duty. Both civil and military officials are contributing to this peace. We hope that all of you, from top to bottom, will be of one mind to bring blessings to the people. His words were a reminder. Everyone knelt in unison, shouting, Your Majesty is wise. Your subjects obey the decree. Suddenly, the sound of crying from somewhere drew everyone's attention. Chu Lin was chasing after the crying Princess Anling, trying to call out, Princess, please listen to my explanation. Everyone stared blankly at the scene before them. She had noticed her. Chu Lin gave a wink. She guessed that Chu Lin must have seized the opportunity to let Princess Amling witness and break up the affair between her and Shui Jinbai. At the Eastern Palace, a voice spoke up, Your Highness. Just now in the Furong Garden, Hua Yong, who was pruning a plant, frowned. The Chen family, the Wang family, they bullied her. Tian Yuan forced a smile and thought to himself, bullied? Although they started the trouble, County Princess Zhaoning never suffered loss. On the contrary, they were tormented miserably by County Princess Zhaoning and were even reprimanded by His Majesty. He lowered his head, remembering that 3 years ago, when the Tubo came to offer tribute, it was Chenzhong who received them. She nodded. Yes. Hua Yong smiled. He also accepted quite a few treasures from the Tubo prince. Recently, the Tubo have been eyeing the border, succeeding in many raids. Tell me, if no one had leaked the defense maps, how could it be so coincidental? Tian Yuan's face turned pale as she realized, charged with the crime of colluding with the enemy. Your Highness wants Marquis Xuanping's life. He spoke. Chenzhong will not let her off easily. Regarding Lady Zhao's death, even if Chenzhong doesn't know she did it, he will treat her like Lady Xiao and drive her out of the prince's manor. Hua Yong calculated. As for the Wang family, give the evidence of their crimes that we have to Old Fifth. To avenge Gu Qing, he will definitely act according to the plan. The carriage continued to move. Chu Lin's whole body ached. Sister Shiha, why didn't you tell me beforehand that Shui Jinbai knows martial arts? Even Shin Shiha was surprised. He knows martial arts? She pondered thoughtfully. I didn't expect that Shui Jinbai, from a prestigious noble family, would also know martial arts. I only knew that imposter skills were not bad. Chu Lin put on a pitiful look. She whined, "That's right. Sister, look, this spot is already bruised." But the next second, Chu Lin was smug. "However, I was ambushed by him. Otherwise, how could his cat scratch kung fu have injured me?" Chu Lin recalled when she first met Jinbai. "At that time, I followed your plan and asked Shui Jinbai out." Jinbai was surprised. "I wonder what business the heir apparent suddenly has with this humble official?" Chu Lin was still lost in thought, but Princess Amling hadn't arrived yet, so I could only stall for time. But she immediately returned to reality and answered in confusion. "It's nothing, really. It's just that while I was still wondering how to handle it, Amling arrived." "Amling is here." "Kui Jinbai, my apologies." Chu Lin rushed forward. "I want to talk to you. Come talk to me." Vice Minister Kui. But immediately, she was struck hard on the shoulder by Chui Jinbai. Chu Lin fell backward onto the ground. Jinbai was startled, a subconscious reaction. "Heir apparent, what are you trying to do?" Chu Lin got up and dusted herself off. She was determined, whether you agree or not. Chu Lin ran and lunged at Chui Jinbai. "This matter cannot be up to you." Amling saw this scene, trembling, unable to believe her eyes. You people." She ran away in sorrow, just as Chu Lin's plan intended. You people." Hearing the story Chu Lin told, Shia's heart felt relieved. Although there were setbacks, it was successful. Chu Lin was worried. Is Chui Jinbai trustworthy? If there's the slightest carelessness, the matter of deceiving the monarch will be exposed. Shia said firmly, "Don't worry, you are still useful. I won't harm you." Chu Lin seemed to remember something. "That's right. I heard that recently, Marquis Xuanping's manor has started to inquire about the events before Lady Zhao's death." Shia was not very surprised. She was calm. "It's fine. I'm also considering how to depose Chen Zhong." Then she told Chu Lin the truth. "When I first entered the capital, Marquis Xuanping's manor wanted to use his hand to take my life. I still remember this grudge." Chen Zhong is the Minister of the Court of State Ceremonial, a suitable position to be framed for colluding with the enemy and betraying the country. Chu Lin was bewildered. Colluding with the enemy and betraying the country. At 6, I was sent to the capital as a hostage prince. Growing up among the cunning people of the capital, my hands are also stained with no small amount of blood. She couldn't help but exclaim, but her heart was still unsettled. "Sister Shiha, you are truly ruthless. But I have never struck in a way that would bring a great crime upon an entire clan." A few days later, at the County Princess's manor, Mo Yuan came to report the situation. "County Princess, someone has already made a move against Marquis Xuanping's manor." Shiha was full of surprise. "Someone? Who? Why would someone make a move against Marquis Xuanping's manor at this time? As far as I know, besides me, Marquis Xuanping's manor has no other enemies." Regarding this matter, it was also difficult for Mo Yuan to investigate. "Your subordinate is incompetent and could not find out." Ziyu led Tian Yuan in. "County Princess, the Crown Prince has sent someone to deliver something." Tian Yuan brought in medicinal herbs. "County Princess, this is what His Highness had his subordinate bring for you. His Highness woke up last night, and this morning he seems to have improved. Hearing that the County Princess has moved to the County Princess's manor, consider this a congratulatory gift for the County Princess." Shiha was concerned, but still surprised. "His Highness the Crown Prince is awake." "It's too sudden." Tian Yuan added, "A few days ago, His Highness was talking in his sleep." The Crown Prince's tutor said that while sleep-talking, the Crown Prince's mind was clear, but he only fully regained consciousness last night. Although that's what was said, the reality was different. Huayong was not in a coma at all, but he couldn't bear it anymore. "I miss County Princess Zhaoning too much. Although in theory, I'm still in a coma. Waking up for a day once in a while shouldn't be a problem, right?" Tian Yuan, acting along with Huayong, also felt awkward saying it. His Highness also said, if it is convenient for the County Princess today, he invites the County Princess to the palace for a visit. His Highness has a few words he wants to say to the County Princess. His body is not well, and he doesn't know when he might fall into a coma again. Shia was full of doubt. What does it mean he doesn't know when he might fall into a coma again? So he often falls into a coma and doesn't wake up? The next morning at Huayong's residence, Shiha decided to visit. Huayong was still feigning illness. The Chongyang festival is approaching. Cough. I'm afraid I won't have the strength to celebrate the festival, so I've instructed people to prepare some rice cakes in advance. He gently suggested to have them with the County Princess now would be like celebrating the festival in advance. Xia saw through it. With Xiao Huayong's physical condition like this, he probably won't be able to drink wine and ascend to a high place for the Chongyang festival. Then she replied, tactfully, ascending high has never been about climbing mountains or towers. My body has been weak since childhood. Every Chongyang festival, my father and brother would accompany me to the city tower in the northwest. On one side, you could see the people in the city singing, dancing, and hanging lanterns to celebrate the festival. On the other side was the yellow sand and the barbaric Xiao Mu tribe outside. Just recalling these memories brings happiness. Huayong was moved. He inquired, the tower in the imperial city can also offer a panoramic view. If, on Chongyang festival, my body gets better, I wonder if I could invite the county princess to go with me? Xia happily accepted. All right. It just so happens that I also want to experience the feeling of standing on the tower in the imperial city, although I want to be with my brother. Huayong's heart was filled with joy. She actually agreed. I have to think about how to arrange it. Tianyuan could only feel helpless. We said he'd only be better for one day. Xia asked seriously, did your highness invite me here just to say this? Now Huayong moved on to the next matter. An auspicious day is approaching. Does the county princess wish to see her family? I can request a decree of grace from His Majesty, but only one person can enter the capital. Xia fell into deep thought upon hearing Huayong's words. Shen Yueshan and Shen Yunin are both in the northwest and cannot leave for even a moment. But Emperor Yuning dotes on Xiao Huayong. As long as Xiao Huayong opens his mouth, he will definitely agree. A glimmer of hope appeared in Xia's eyes. Zhaoning thanks your highness for your consideration. Zhaoning wishes to see her elder brother. Huayong said evasively, the county princess must ascend the tower with me. What is it for me to request a decree of grace for the county princess? Xia did not make a big deal of it. No, ascending the tower with your highness is just a small matter. Requesting a decree of grace is also a small matter. To you, they're all small matters, but to me, they are precious. Xia also had her own calculations. Xiao Huayong is good to me. In short, it's perfect and cannot be refused, but it also won't create pressure. Looking at Huayong before her, she felt he was even more unpredictable. To be able to do so much, is he ultimately kind, or is it because he sees through people's hearts? Huayong felt awkward. Why is the county princess looking at me like that? Xia also spoke honestly. I have always been intelligent and have never failed to see through people's hearts, but your highness is the first. Regarding this, Huayong could say with certainty, the county princess does not need to investigate what kind of person I am. You only need to believe that I will never harm the county princess. However, you don't need to believe it now. Just remember it and let the moonlight be my witness. By late afternoon, Tianyuan reported, Your Highness, the county princess has returned to her manor. She worriedly asked for Huayong's opinion again. Your Highness, you said you want to request a decree of grace to allow heir apparent Shun to enter the capital. At that time, I'm afraid someone will not stay put. Your Highness helping Shun Yunin enter the capital. The power of the various princes will continue to grow. I fear His Majesty will make a move. If something happens to Shun Yunin, how will we explain it to the county princess? Huayong trusted his judgment. Shen Yunin is not useless, and Shen Yueshan is not reckless. Tianyuan, I want to marry her. I want both her person and her heart. Huayong was pensive. He was thinking far ahead. I'm only planning for the future. I can't hide it for a lifetime. When the time is right, I will tell her everything. It's just that before then, I must move her heart a little more. Tianyuan reported further, Your Highness, there is one more thing. The supreme snow lotus of Tianshan has gone missing. It's right at the peak of the mountain. The people we sent have already posted a reward, but no one has been able to climb it. Huayong was not in a hurry. He made his own decision. I will go after the Chongyang festival. Before that, it will be best to find someone to torment. 2 days later, at the county princess's manor, County Princess, the assets of Marquis Xuanping's manor have been confiscated. It was MOU who ran to report. The eldest son of the Count of Yuanping's manor, Chu Yin, accused Marquis Xuanping's manor, presenting evidence that Marquis Xuanping's manor accepted bribes. Now, Marquis Xianping, Chun Zhong, has been sentenced to beheading. The women have been taken to the Yeting Palace, and the men have been exiled 3,000 miles away. Xia was truly concerned about this matter. She had heard before that someone was setting a trap for Qin Zhong, but she never expected that Chu Yin would end up being the trigger. Chu Yin's father seemed to have some dealings with Prince Xiao. Could this person be one of Xiao Changtai's men? She fell into deep thought. The fourth prince, Xiao Changtai, showed no interest in court affairs, preferring only to travel and enjoy himself, an idle prince. Was he truly unconcerned with court affairs, or was he secretly plotting something? Mou asked for Shiha's opinion, mentioning that in 3 days, there would be a banquet at the prince's manor to celebrate the princess consort's birthday. Does the county princess wish to go? Shiha made her decision straightforwardly. Go. I will go meet Xiao Changtai. A new day at Huayong's place. This birthday banquet for an elder was certainly a familiar affair. Huayong stood by the window, full of boredom. Besides, Zhaoning is going, so I want to go too. The lady from the Grand Preceptor's house is very tall. If I were like that lady, would she be close to me? Tian Yuan sighed wearily. Ever since getting to know County Princess Zhaoning, His Highness was acting less and less like a highness. 3 days later, at Prince Ding's manor, the atmosphere was bustling and lively. Shiha was also present, along with Mou and Ziyu. A servant here welcomed her. County Princess, please. Qian Xiao ran out from inside, greeting her joyfully. Sister Shiha, her foot hit a stone, and Qian Xiao's body lost its balance. Just as she was about to fall to the ground, someone arrived in time to support her. The one who caught her was a woman of sharp beauty, exuding a powerful aura. Qian Xiao said shyly, "Many thanks, Sister Qin." She was Qin Sixi, the Grand Preceptor's granddaughter. She replied coldly, "You and I are not familiar. Do not be so quick to call me sister. A lady in a noble house should walk carefully, always wear a smile, and maintain her posture when seated." Qian Xiao was embarrassed. "I know, Sister Qin." Lady Qin. She has stood to the side, observing silently. She had heard that the Grand Preceptor's granddaughter, Qin Sixi, was very tall. Seeing her today, she was indeed tall, even taller than Chu Lin. She has stepped inside, where 2 other women were seated. Shia bowed politely in greeting. Princess Consort Ding. The one in pink robes, Princess Consort Ding, Yi Wentong, hurried over to welcome Shia. County Princess, please rise quickly. There is no need for such ceremony. Wentong turned to introduce. This is my 3rd sister-in-law, the eldest princess consort. The one in red robes had a heavenly aura mixed with a hint of arrogance. The eldest princess consort, a princess of Shiliang, Li Yin, spoke very casually. No need to bow to me. I am no noble lady of the former dynasty. While she was being cheerful, Yin Yin's face suddenly darkened. Shia couldn't help but be curious. Yin Yin's expression had changed so abruptly. She also followed Yin Yin's gaze. From a distance, Liang Danpu had just entered and was preparing to greet them. Princess Consort Ding, eldest. Before she could finish, Yin Yin picked up the water cup from the table and, full of killing intent, threw it straight at Danpu. She managed to dodge in time as glass shard from the broken cup flew everywhere. One shard suddenly shot straight towards where Shiha was standing, but something cut across its path, causing the shard to fly off course. When it fell to the ground, there was a pair of chopsticks next to it. Shia was surprised. Chopsticks? Wentong, standing beside her, was frantic with worry. County Princess, are you all right? Sixi was also there. She ordered her maidservant, go pick up those chopsticks. Shia grew even more curious about Sixi. Could it be that Qin Sixi was the one who saved me just now? She knows martial arts? Sixi praised her maidservant. Well done. The maidservant also accepted it sincerely. Thank you for the praise, master. That last remark made Shiha think differently. So it was Qin Sixi's maid who knew martial arts. Yin Yin held a shard in her hand. She walked towards Danpu, threatening her and making her tremble. Such great courage. I was rewarding you, but you dare to dodge? The eldest prince, Xiao Changyan, ran over to intervene. Yin Yin. Walking beside him was Prince Ding, Xiao Changtai. As they approached, a light fragrance wafted out. Shiha recognized it as the scent of Dachira. Although it was very faint, I can be certain it is Dachira. Watching them get closer and closer to Yin Yin, Shiha couldn't help but be suspicious of the scent. But with the fragrance carried on the wind here, it was fundamentally impossible to determine its direction. Changyan stood in front of Danpu and sternly reminded Li Yin Yin. Yin Yin, stop causing a scene. Yin Yin looked at the fake Danpu hiding behind Changyan, and her blood boiled with provocation. She hasn't even entered the family, yet you're already protecting her like this. Are you afraid I'll harm her? Changyan didn't want to have a big argument here. His eyes were troubled. Yin Yin, let's go back to the manor. She didn't hesitate to push Changyan's hand away. You want to protect her. Then Li Yinyan took the shard and cut her own face. Blood flowed, but Yinyan just casually threw it to the ground. You can't bear to part with your new amusement, so I will atone to the county princess. Xiao Changyan was flustered. Physician, quickly call a physician. Yinyan didn't stand still. She turned and left. No need. It's just a small wound. It won't kill me. Changyan hurriedly chased after her. Yinyan. He put his arm around her, wiped the blood for Li Yinyan, and whispered, Yinyan, stop making a fuss, be good. Liang Danpu tried to hide her unwillingness. Xia couldn't stand it anymore. She picked up a cup. Lady Liang. Before she could reply, Xia threw the cup forcefully towards Danpu, but she just stood still. The people around began to gossip. What's going on? Why did County Princess Zhaoning throw a cup at Liang Danpu? This is too much. Don't mess with County Princess Zhaoning. Don't you all remember what happened at Furong Garden last time? The woman with the flower in her hair stood up to speak for Danpu. County Princess, don't bully people too much. Sixi mocked her, idiot. The woman was speechless with anger. Xia profoundly exposed her. Lady Liang, you didn't dodge because you knew the teacup would shatter beside your feet. So you should have also known that the eldest princess consort's teacup would shatter beside your feet earlier. What were you dodging? Danpu still feigned innocence. Danpu doesn't understand what the county princess means. Xia was not in a hurry. She remained calm. You dodged because I happened to be next to you. If the eldest princess consort injured me, you could conveniently profit from the conflict. Being exposed made Danpu's heart bitter. I prepare my plan so meticulously. If the shard didn't injure Shen Shiha, I could still successfully create a powerful enemy in Li Yinyan. But how did Shen Shiha see through my scheme? Feeling she couldn't deny it, Danpu resorted to playing the victim. County Princess, although Danpu's status is low, I cannot be bullied by the County Princess at will. Xia stepped closer and questioned calmly. Bully? Telling the truth has become bullying? Do you want to know what bullying tastes like? Looking at the pile of broken shards, she commanded, Montakyu. She immediately restrained Danpu, forcing her down. Her knees were pierced by the shards, and Danpu's blood seeped through the fabric. Even now, she was still blaming others. County Princess, you are abusing private punishment. Xia was blunt. The eldest princess consort is an imperial princess consort by marriage. Because of a troublemaker like you, she even used a shard to cut her own face. Shouldn't you be asking for punishment? Since you don't understand etiquette, I will teach you. If you're not convinced, you can file a complaint. I will be waiting for you at the county princess's manor. In front of so many people, she had declared loudly, I grew up in the Northwest. The men and women of the Northwest are all very straightforward. I don't like beating around the bush, and I especially don't like others thinking I'm a fool. Xia ordered MOU. MOU, you will personally escort Miss Liang back to her manor. Do not say a word to the Liang family about what happened. MOU obeyed, pulling Danpu up. The others whispered amongst themselves. It's been rumored recently that consort Zhaorong intentionally wants Liang Danpu to become a side consort. Another group chimed in. No wonder the eldest princess consort was so angry. Why did Princess Consort Ding invite her today? I'm afraid she came uninvited and even wanted to show up in front of the eldest princess consort. Does she have the guts of a tiger and the gall of a bear, daring to use Shen Shiha to deal with Li Yinyan? Wentong clapped her hands to get everyone's attention. She tried to restore the atmosphere. All right, that was just a little performance. The real show is yet to come. I have invited a dancer from the palace. Everyone is in for a treat today. Her body, as graceful as a fairy. Bian Shini was on stage, dancing. Her captivating beauty and slender body could stir the hearts of many. Sixi watched attentively. It's just so. A light fragrance wafted from outside, and Shiha immediately sensed it. The caramel scent came from Qin Sixi. The main fragrance on Qin Sixi was from the lotus flower. This scent suited Qin Sixi's temperament, but this type of scent cannot be blended with a lot of dachira. While she was thinking, other girls excitedly pushed forward. Master Bien! Master Bien! She has stumbled into Sixi, her hand accidentally touching her chest. Shiha, embarrassed, quickly pulled her hand back. It's a lady. My apologies. Sixi didn't mind and was also shy. It's all right. She looked at Shiha and smiled meaningfully. Silly girl, I was well prepared. Everyone watched Shini dance and praised her profusely. Wonderful. Master Bien's dancing skills are outstanding. Truly a feast for the eyes. After her performance, Shini was helped onto a boat. Shiha was curious. However, just now Miss Chin said that Master Bien's exquisite dance moves were just SOSO. Shiha was full of anticipation. I wonder if Miss Chin could broaden my horizons? Shiha looked at Sixi with suspicion. Although she could personally verify that Chin Sixi was a woman, she still had too many suspicious issues. I need to investigate this to the end. Bien Shini approached her and pleaded, Xiaoi loves to dance. I sincerely ask Miss Chin for guidance. Sixi looked at Shiha and thought to herself, little fox. Chin Sixi spoke. I feel a connection with the county princess. I wonder if I could invite the county princess to my home as a guest. Shiha refused immediately without consideration. I don't like to associate with others. Moyu was confused. County princess, if you already have suspicions about Miss Chin, why didn't you go along with it just now? Shiha did not answer. She secretly schemed. Not this time, but next time. If he appears again next time, in another identity, after I am certain, I will not make a sound, I will play along with him. At Huayong's manor, he complained incessantly. I miss Zhaoning so much. Huayong couldn't help but worry. She rejected me at Prince Ding's manor. Is it because she found Chin Sixi too bland? Or should I change to another noble lady? Tian Yuan was helpless. Your Highness, there are no other noble ladies in the capital as tall as you. She quickly changed the subject. All right, the imperial physician sent word that the county princess is inquiring about your medical records. Huayong heard this and indulged in his own infatuation. She's asking about my medical records. She must be concerned about me. I'll try to feint less in the future to avoid scaring her. Tian Yuan was speechless at his optimism. Your Highness, please wake up. Remember last year when the princes and several high officials inquired about your medical records? It was deemed as having ulterior motives. How is it that when the county princess does it, it becomes concern for you? Huayong ordered, give my medical records to her. She's a stubborn girl. If you don't give them to her, she certainly won't let it go easily. Giving them to her sooner will also prevent her from exposing me. Tian Yuan was surprised. Why give them to her? She looked at Huayong with some hesitation. The imperial physician recorded this file for His Majesty and those who wish to see it. Based on these medical records, I'm afraid no woman would want to marry you. Huayong remained nonchalant. Just give a file to her. Before Tian Yuan left, Huayong added a reminder. She doesn't understand medicine, and the maid beside her who does is still in Luoyang. She won't be able to find anyone to ask. Go instruct Xie Yunhuai. He'll know what to say. Tian Yuan immediately complied. The next day was a day of torrential rain. Sitting in the county princess's manor, Shiha made a request, her mind constantly calculating. Physician Xie, please help me take a look. How should I interpret these medical records? Last night, I obtained Xiao Huayong's medical records, but I don't understand them, so I could only invite Xie Yunhuai to help me look them over. Yunhuai observed attentively. It's nothing more than an ordinarily frail constitution. She has still had many doubts. Just a frail constitution. Then what about his lifespan? I also have a frail constitution, but I didn't expect Xiao Huayong to be the same. Yunhuai hesitated for a moment, looking at the medical records. This person is indeed frail, but this person is not like the county princess. The county princess was born frail, while his condition was acquired later. As for his lifespan, there's no way to be certain. Yunhuai probed. May I ask who this person is to the county princess? Shiha was serious. A certain someone. I'm considering whether he is someone I should entrust the rest of my life to. Hearing this, Yunhuai advised, County Princess, you shouldn't be so straightforward in the future. In the capital, there are countless types of people. They speak human to humans and ghost to ghosts. They're different. Some people will understand, some will not. She had teased, including you? Yunhuai did not deny it. Yes, including me. She had chatted further. She probed. Physician Xie, I am good friends with Sister Gu. She has always had a question in her heart. Why did you divorce back then? If you hadn't divorced, she wouldn't have had to marry into the imperial family. Faced with Shiha's question, Yunhuai's eyes filled with a touch of sadness. He sighed, then confessed truthfully, County Princess, I devoted myself to studying medicine because my mother died at the hands of a quack doctor who prescribed the wrong medicine. This medicine wasn't poisonous. It just didn't treat the illness. She took it for 3 years, and not only did she not get better, it was all a scheme by my father, Duke Xie. In his youth, Duke Xie had someone in his heart, but because of a marriage contract, he married my mother. After returning, he continued to pursue the person he initially admired. My mother had no way to keep that person by her side. Hearing Yunhuai's story, Xia felt a bit of sympathy. She had only heard that Xie Yunhui had cut ties with Duke Xie because of his mother's death and was judged by the world as unfilial and unrighteous, never expecting such a story behind it. Xie Yunhui rambled about his life. I am, in the mouths of the world, an unfilial and unrighteous person. If Lady Gu were to marry me, her whole life would be truly unjust. Besides, I had left the Duke's manor at that time. If I had turned back to marry Lady Gu, Prime Minister Gu would have advised me to return to the manor, which would be pitying me. If Prime Minister Gu didn't advise me, he would fear that my severing of ties and affection would be rumored to be instigated by him. She had asked further, what if she was willing to return to a pastoral life with you? Before she could finish, Xie Yunhui firmly interrupted, she wouldn't, County Princess. She is Lady Gu, the model of the capital's boudoirs, a lady from a noble family. If she wanted to, she would have 100,000 ways to avoid marrying into the imperial family. But she chose to defy everything because she is Lady Gu. Looking at Shiha, Yunhui began to speak. County Princess, you are the same. From the manor, Shiha watched Yunhui leave. She sighed, I never expected that the one who understands me most is you. Shiha reflected thoughtfully. Gu Qingji had 100,000 ways to not enter the imperial family, and Shun Shiha did too. In the end, we both chose to give our all to protect the family responsibilities that we could not refuse. Ziyu ran in, interrupting her train of thought. County Princess, Prince Lai requests an audience. Rain began to patter on the eaves, creating a steady, soothing sound. Shiha, while reading, shouted out in annoyance. I'm not seeing him. Suddenly, Ziyu entered with a worried expression and reported softly to her. His Highness gave this to you, saying that if you don't wish to see him, he will leave on his own. Shiha held out a hand nonchalantly and said, let me see it. She gently unrolled the scroll, her serious gaze scrutinizing every line of text, and the space around them became strangely silent. Suddenly, Shiha's eyes widened, revealing a look of astonishment. The defense map of the Anshi Protectorate General. This map is overseen by my father. How did it appear here? She sighed and rolled up the letter with a look of dismay. Ziyu, beside her, couldn't help but ask worriedly, does the County Princess wish to see His Highness Prince Lai? He said he would only wait for a quarter of an hour. Shiha held the letter in her hand and said defiantly, I'm not seeing him. He brings this drawing to me now, either because he has a request for me, or because he cannot determine its authenticity. If I meet him, it will instead allow him to gain the upper hand. She turned sharply and handed the letter to her maid, saying, give this to him, and tell him that I am kindly reminding him not to be too clever for his own good. Ziyu helplessly bowed her head in compliance, yes. Afterwards, Shiha entered the study, drew the curtain, and instructed, I'm going to write a letter now. You take it to Hua Fuhai's man and tell him to help me deliver it to my father at the fastest possible speed. Her slender, jade-like hand gently lifted the brush, wielding soft strokes of ink on the pure white paper under the warm light. Line by line, the characters gradually appeared. Hua Fuhai has his own method of transmitting messages. The message to meet him last time was even faster than an 800 Li emergency dispatch. This letter is entirely in the secret code between me, my father, and my brother. Even if someone next to them got the letter, they wouldn't be able to understand it. Ziyu, beside her, couldn't help but ask worriedly, County Princess, should we ask His Highness the Crown Prince for help? Shiha continued to write, replying with a cold expression, this is a huge vulnerability. I absolutely cannot let it fall into the hands of others. At the Eastern Palace, the rain was still drizzling. A voice suddenly called out in the palace, Your Highness, do you wish to read the letter? Hua Yong replied seriously, for her to deliver it to my hands, she must be certain that I won't be able to understand it either. Send it urgently to the northwest. He sighed and added, something major must have happened, otherwise she wouldn't have come to me. The servant then directly whispered into his ear, this matter is likely related to the 9th prince. As soon as the words were spoken, he let out a light, contemptuous laugh. Little brother has grown capable, since he has such endurance. Then let's send him to the northwest to earn some merits. The servant standing beside him couldn't help but exclaim in alarm, send His Highness Prince Lai to the northwest. That day, His Highness Prince Lai was pursued right in front of the County Princess. The Northwest King's manor also put in some effort. She also thinks that Shan Yueshan clearly intends to betroth Shen Shiha to Xiao Chengjing. Now, sending Xiao Chengjing to the northwest. What if he gains the favor of the Northwest King's manor? Huayong sighed. He didn't act it out, but in his heart, he constantly thought that Zhaoning doesn't value him. As long as Zhaoning is unwilling, Xin Yueshan will absolutely not force her. Huayong rested his chin on his hand and smiled cunningly. Moreover, once Xiao Changjing gets to the northwest, I will then bring up the matter of the defense map to threaten Zhaoning and have it passed on to Xin Yueshan's ears. Let's see how he'll win Xin Yueshan's favor then. The next day at the county princess's manor, the weather was beautiful and the large canopies of the trees were gradually casting shade throughout the manor. Ziyu, carrying a plate of food, said hurriedly, "County princess, I don't know where the rumor leaked from, but today His Majesty has heard about the disappearance of the Anxi Protectorate General's defense map. But because there is no evidence, the ministers of the 3 departments and 6 ministries are arguing incessantly. In the end, His Highness Prince Lai volunteered to go to the northwest to secretly investigate this matter." Hearing these words, Shiha remained completely unfazed, sitting calmly with her chin propped up, reading a book. She crossed her legs on the chair and contemplated. "Someone is helping me. What is real seems false, and what is false seems real, making this matter's truth hard to distinguish. I'm afraid that now, even the thief who stole the defense map can't be sure if he stole a real map or not. And on the northwest side, Father has also heard the rumors and will naturally have countermeasures." Ziyu, holding a teapot, had a bewildered look in her eyes and asked softly, "Who could it be?" She could only shake her head and sigh wearily, her voice as light as a passing breeze. "I don't know either." As Ziyu was pouring tea, 2 other people arrived to report, "County Princess, Guard Chow has brought a food box." He walked over, holding a luxurious wooden box in his hands. "County Princess, today the Eastern Palace made lemon stuffed crab and orange steamed crab. His Highness is frail and cannot eat much, so he ordered this subordinate to bring some for the County Princess." Ziyu politely received it with both hands. She had gently said, "Please trouble Guard Chow to thank His Highness the Crown Prince for me." Before leaving, he bowed his head and reported, "His Highness has a message he wishes this subordinate to convey to the County Princess. His Highness says regarding the matter of Anxi, the County Princess can rest assured." She was stunned, her eyes wide with surprise. A series of thoughts appeared in her mind. The person helping her from behind was actually Xiao Huayong. It seems that Xiao Huayong's power and intelligence far exceed her previous assessment. On a night with a full moon and countless stars shining in the sky, at the Eastern Palace, Mingzheng Hall, Huayong rushed to the palace. His father couldn't help but say in alarm to his son, "Seventh son, your body is frail. If something is the matter, just send someone to summon Father. There's no need to come here personally." Huayong didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point. "Father, I heard about Guin's matter and remembered that I previously promised Zhaoning an imperial decree to allow her brother to come to the capital to celebrate the Double Ninth Festival with her." Tears welling up, he trembled with a pitiful expression. "Please grant this, Father." Emperor Yuning sighed and replied indifferently, "It's just an imperial decree. Why must you come yourself? Father will issue the decree tomorrow." He looked at Huayong with a disappointed and dejected gaze and said, "Seventh son, what do you think about Father pairing you with Zhaoning?" He mumbled dejectedly, "Father, your son does not." Before Huayong had a chance to object, the emperor shouted sternly, "Nonsense! Didn't the imperial physician say so? As long as we can find a top-grade snow lotus, your body can definitely recover slowly. Yonger, your grandmother, and your father both hope you'll get better. Hello, friend. Below is the detailed transcript for the audio file you provided. We look forward to you marrying and having children." He pretended to nod to let it pass. "Ah, Niwil will take good care of herself." The next morning, in the streets of the capital city, a gentle sunlight cast a golden glow everywhere. People and horses bustled about, and everyone was eagerly engaged in lively discussions. "I heard that yesterday, His Highness the Crown Prince personally sought His Majesty to request a favor for Chuning County Princess, allowing the heir of the Northwest King, Shun Cannon, to enter the capital for the new year with Chuning County Princess. The County Princess is truly formidable to have bewitched the Crown Prince like that. If only my father could return from the border." Ziyu looked around with an indignant expression on Shiha's behalf, but Shiha was not affected at all and directly ignored those rumors. Shiha said, "Regarding the matter of the Anxi defense map, I must thank Huayong. It seems he really likes to eat. Why don't I make him a bowl of wontons to express my gratitude?" At the Eastern Palace, Ziyu reported to Huayong, "Your Highness, This bowl of wontons was made entirely by the county princess's own hands to express her gratitude to your highness. Holding the steaming bowl of wontons with its rich aroma, she placed it on the table and continued her report. The county princess made 2 types, but worried your highness wouldn't have enough, so she cooked 3 bowls of each. Tian Yuan, at his side, couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, this is. Upon seeing Ziyu reveal several more portions of wontons. This one. She handed a bowl to Tian Yuan. The county princess specifically told Ziyu to cook a bowl for the guard. Hearing this, she exclaimed joyfully, I get a portion too? Huayong glanced at Tian Yuan with a judgmental look, giving her a bad feeling and making her skin crawl. Inside, Huayong's heart began to churn with unwilling possessiveness. Although the 2 bowls of wontons weren't entirely cooked by Chuning, she put the fillings in, so both bowls are mine. Huayong cleared his throat lightly and ordered, leave them all here. Tian Yuan, you escort Ziyu out of the palace. When Tian Yuan returned, she practically froze for 5 seconds before she could believe what was happening. Tian Yuan looked down at the 2 empty bowls with a sense of sorrow. While Tian Yuan was stammering in disbelief, all 5 bowls are gone. Huayong sat leisurely picking his teeth, his heart filled with indescribable joy as he exclaimed, fresh, fragrant. The wontons Chuning made are truly delicious. Tian Yuan suddenly moved close to Huayong, clasped her hands, and pleaded, Your Highness, let's have wontons tomorrow morning. I want to eat wontons too. I really want to. He smiled. From now on, no more wontons are to be cooked in the Eastern Palace. Tian Yuan nearly collapsed at the command, immediately wailing why. He dusted off his hands and said, Chuning's skill is too good. I don't want to eat anyone else's wontons anymore. He walked leisurely past Tian Yuan and said, It seems she really does like to eat. From now on, I must learn to cook. Tian Yuan, standing behind him, protested vehemently, Your Highness, if you want something, you can just tell the kitchen. Why must you go through such trouble? Knives have no eyes. What if you get hurt? He replied indifferently, You don't understand. If she likes a dish made by the kitchen, she will send her maid to learn. But if she likes the food I make, she can only learn personally from me. The next day, at the Eastern Palace, he was startled to see her and blurted out, Chuning, why have you come? Shiha replied politely in a gentle voice, I came today to thank your highness for your help. He quickly raised a hand to support her and replied shyly, It was a small matter, County Princess, there's no need. He was halfway through his sentence when he suddenly coughed, then added, In any case, the bowl of wontons the County Princess made yesterday was truly delicious. I've liked wontons since I was a child, but for some reason, I find the ones others make to be greasy. She gave a faint smile and replied, Then Chuning will write down my recipe for your highness. That's right, this is Bakhan Hung, a special gift for you. After speaking, she presented a gleaming golden jar of Bakhan Hung to Huayong. He immediately turned to the person beside him and ordered, Tian Yuan, bring an incense burner here. Tian Yuan simply replied respectfully, yes. He savored the spreading fragrance and lavished it with praise, the warmth, the lingering scent. It calms the spirit. I like this Bakhan Hung very much. The county princess has gone to great trouble. Shiha replied gently, It is enough that your highness does not dislike it. She added, Actually, my impudent visit today, aside from expressing my thanks, is also to ask a question. How did your highness know about the Anshi defense map? Huayong answered frankly, To be honest with the county princess, I have my people in the prince's residences. Shia couldn't help but feel suspicious. She thought, he said, prince's residences and not Prince Lai's manor. So he has arranged for people to be in every prince's manor. She gently lifted the steaming teacup and continued to think. For someone who left the palace at the age of 8 to be able to do this is truly terrifying. She had gently blew away the wisp of steam floating in the air and said softly, Your Highness, you know what I asked for. Huayong replied calmly, The Shun family's peace and safety, the Northwest, no longer in chaos. Shiha lowered her teacup, her voice filled with surprise. Can your highness give that? He replied calmly, I can. The corners of her lips suddenly curved into a faint smile. She lowered her voice to probe. Your highness, I am someone who does not trust others, nor will I entrust the lives of my family to someone else. He gave a light laugh and retorted, What a coincidence. Neither do I. Shiha asked gently, Does your highness have any requirements for a wife? He answered without hesitation, No betrayal. She sat still, her face full of doubt. It's fine even if her temperament is weak. She had tilted her head slightly, her mind swirling with thoughts. He only requires loyalty. Hasn't he considered that if the other person has a weak temperament, she could be bullied and taken advantage of? But he just propped up his chin and calculated, this Eastern Palace is full of scheming minds. If she enters the Eastern Palace and cannot stand on her own, falling into a trap, I will not save her. If I am harmed by her manipulation, it is my own incompetence, and I will not complain. The sunlight gradually faded. From a distance, a voice suddenly called out, "Your Highness, please wait." She has said to herself, after the long conversation, I realized that Hua Yong's inner character and mine are actually similar, to the point where it feels like an illusion born for myself. She said gently, "Your Highness, you are a very good person." Hua Yong just stood there, staring at the hem of Shiha's robes fluttering in the wind. Seemingly at a loss for words, he just stood there stunned, in thought. It wasn't until a while later that his heart seemed to bloom, and he chattered on endlessly. She said I'm a very good person. Tian Yuan, did you hear that? She thinks I'm a very good person. Tian Yuan, at his side, was puzzled. Your Highness, you have intentions of proposing to the county princess, so why did you speak like that just now? She thought to herself, what was that about not being able to make it, falling into a trap and meeting death without being saved? Tian Yuan's face darkened as she asked doubtfully, are those words one can say to someone they want to marry? Hua Yong calmly explained, she would only believe it if I said that. He had thought, I want to say some romantic words, but if I say them, I'm afraid Chu Ning will avoid me. She doesn't want love, she only wants mutual benefit, only wants a peaceful life. That night, under a crescent moon, at the county princess's manor, Ziyu reported, County Princess, the 2 shops left by the princess consort have been set up as your incense shops. The incense ingredients are ready. As Ziyu combed Shia's hair, she fretted, now we just need a name and we can open. Shiha remained calm and asked, a name? She began to muse, 100 flowers were chased to extinction. Only I survived, so let's call it Du Hua Lu. Ziyu stammered, Du Hua, County Princess. This name, Du Hua, sounds very peculiar. It will surely attract many people to inquire. She let out a sigh and asked Ziyu in return, helplessly, what if I say it plainly? Ziyu couldn't help but feel scared, saying softly, County Princess, while thinking to herself, with the words the County Princess says, isn't she trying to offend everyone? She has suddenly burst out laughing, causing Ziyu to be unable to hold back and break into laughter as well. All right, I won't tease you anymore, she calmly explained bit by bit. Du Hua is used in medicine by healers and in incense by perfumers. Taking another name, it's very suitable for an incense shop. A few days later, the streets of the capital were as bustling as ever, but with a difference. A new cry rang out through the air. Du Hua Lu is open for business. People vied to advertise to passersby. Incense sticks, incense paste, incense oil, incense beads, a full range of incense and candle products. Don't miss it as you pass by. Amidst that lively atmosphere, the Eastern Palace was strangely peaceful. Hua Yong couldn't help but praise. Du Hua Lu, what an arrogant name. He immediately gave an order, Tian Yuan, go to her shop and buy all the bakan home. I don't want anyone else in this city to be able to enjoy the incense she prepared for me. Tian Yuan clasped her hands in obedience and replied, yes. As she was about to leave, Hua Yong called her back. Oh, and one more thing, gift the cockdang that hung from the Western region's tribute to Chu Ning. Tian Yuan found this strange and immediately asked, gift one? Shouldn't gifts be given in pairs? He explained patiently, if I gift one, she won't be able to use it to entertain guests, and it just so happens that she and I will each have one. But suddenly he sighed sadly. But to prevent her from giving the cup to someone else, I have to expend some thought. The scene changed. Fei Hai suppressed his anger and enunciated each word, fated or not. His Highness the Crown Prince speaks too soon. Hua Yong sneered sarcastically. Heir, I believe that heaven does not fail those who are determined. Fei Hai shot up and slammed the table in fury. The Son of Heaven is unworthy of having a heart. In response to that fury, he maintained his cheerful demeanor and replied calmly, everyone has a heart. I am happy for you. After hearing Hua Yong's words, he became even angrier. Your Highness should just call her sister Chu Ning. Hua Yong maintained his humorous tone and provoked. My feelings for you are rare and have already taken root. After hearing those words, Fei couldn't help but sigh before calming down and speaking seriously. Your Highness, have you ever thought about whether you can be with her for a lifetime? Forgive my bluntness, but has your Highness ever considered her future days? Huayong's smile vanished. He took a sip of tea and replied coldly, birth, old age, sickness, and death cannot be predicted. How many seemingly healthy people are gone in the blink of an eye? As long as the county princess does not give up, I will indulge her this once. I swear on my life to protect her in this lifetime and not harm her. Fei immediately frowned in displeasure, then had no choice but to clasp his hands and say politely, Your Highness, I still have matters to attend to. I will take my leave. But inwardly, he couldn't help but curse in frustration. These lovey-dovey words are making it impossible for me to stay here any longer. He walked away with unconcealable annoyance. Both Huayong and Tian Yuan watched his frustrated departure. Tian Yuan asked helplessly, Your Highness, aren't you worried the heir will repeat your words to the county princess? She thought His Highness is so strange. In front of the county princess, he pretends to have no feelings, but in front of the heir, he shows a different face, as if he regrets not being able to say all the things he wants to say to the county princess. Huayong picked up the teacup, pondered for a long time, then replied softly, Even between the closest of blood siblings, some things are not said. Fei is Yu Yu's older brother. Compared to a cold emperor, he would rather his sister marry someone who truly loves her, so he cannot use the same face he uses to treat Zhao. He had a deal with Shen Yunan. On the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival, the scenery was nearly as bright as day due to the continuous explosion of fireworks. Fei sat opposite Shiha, chatting, Yu, the moon gazing here is truly beautiful. Shiha demurely covered her face with a fan and chuckled softly. He continued casually, from here, one can see the scenery for 10 miles around. Listening to him ramble on, she gradually felt confused and did not reply. Suddenly, the voices of a group of men echoed from downstairs. She looked out and thought to herself, that is the Shaoqing of the Dali Temple, Chui Jinbai, and next to him are Zhao Zhenghao and Hua Fuhai. Suddenly, a figure flashed past, catching their attention. The crowd below clasped their hands and bowed in greeting fearfully. This also attracted Shiha's attention, causing her to look back as well. She thought to herself, it's him. This is the person who carries the scent of Kala. Who on earth is he? As if feeling her intense gaze, he turned his head, then looked up towards Shiha. She couldn't help but be startled and exclaimed, Brother. She quickly stood up and rushed off. I want to go downstairs to buy 2 gauze lanterns. You wait here for me. She ran down into the dense crowd, looking around but still not seeing that figure. So she followed the scent. It's the strong scent of Kala. He's over there. A low voice suddenly sounded. Is the county princess looking for me? She turned her head and came face to face with the person she was painstakingly searching for. As soon as she saw him, she questioned, Who are you? Why do you repeatedly appear before me in disguise? You're still in disguise right now. He gave a wry smile and replied, Who I am is not important. The county princess only needs to remember that I am a friend, not a foe, so you don't need to be so wary of me. Coincidentally, today is the Mid-Autumn Festival. I wonder if I can invite the county princess to gaze at the moon? He held a fan, a warm smile on his face. She wondered, this person before me, is it a coincidence or a deliberate arrangement? I must see what tricks he has up his sleeve. While everyone was happily releasing flower lanterns into the water, she stood alone and forlorn. A voice suddenly called from behind, I've kept the county princess waiting. I saw this lantern just now and wanted to give it to you. I hope the county princess will always be as beautiful as the moon. Shiha refused. Thank you for your well wishes, but I cannot accept the gift. She thought to herself, the painting on the lantern reminds me of Luoyang. That chess game was not won honorably. Lost in thought, she didn't notice the children behind her chasing each other and about to bump into her. Then, the inevitable happened. A collision made her clutch her arm in sharp pain, and she immediately fell into the man's arms. He didn't hesitate to pull her aside, while the children continued to chase each other noisily. Come and get me. Get it back to me. He released her, offered the lantern, and said gently, My apologies for the offense. She thought to herself, this person really gives one no chance to refuse. He continued gently, The Zealine you were at just now is the best place in the capital to view the moon. However, I think it's more beautiful here. The silhouettes of the two of them talking were reflected on the lake's surface. He slowly added, look at the full moon on the river. Gazing at the moon here, you can see two moons at the same time. She looked straight into his eyes. He asked shyly, why is the county princess looking at me like that? Shiha replied calmly, I want to see clearly what kind of person you are under this disguise. He hesitated and said, does the county princess really want to see me clearly? But in this world, apart from a newborn child, everyone has more than one face. I am like this, and the county princess is also like this. She shook her head vigorously. You're wrong. I only have one face. No matter who it is, I have secrets, but I would never disguise myself to achieve a goal. What I want, I will go and get it myself. The blooming peach blossoms exuded a light fragrance. Under that poetic scenery, he placed a hand on his chest and said gently, if I were that straightforward, I probably wouldn't have lived to this day. The county princess's straightforwardness, I respect it immensely, I admire it immensely, but I can only respect and admire it. I can only say, I am not as complicated as you think. But if you really want to know what kind of person I am, why not stay by my side day and night? See for yourself. One day, I will definitely take off this disguise and face the county princess frankly. She has sighed and replied, based solely on your casual words, I cannot accept you. He said with a firm tone, it's fine if you can't accept me now. After all, we still have a long time. Suddenly, the sound of fireworks exploded across the sky. He gently placed a kiss on her forehead. The action made her widen her eyes in surprise. Shiha immediately gave him a huge slap, her face full of anger. I'm sorry. Although his face was imprinted with a handprint from the slap, he still smiled contentedly and said, just now, I couldn't control my feelings and offended the county princess. She rotated her wrist, her face full of anger, and shouted, I see you're clearly pleased with yourself, not remorseful at all. I must tear off your mask with my own hands and see who you really are. He forced a smile, but was silently crying inside. Chu Ning didn't give me any face at all. Qian Xiao waved her hand radiantly, her eyes crinkling with a smile as she ran toward Shiha. Sister Shiha? She looked at Shiha with sparkling eyes. It really is Sister Shiha. I knew I wasn't mistaken. Sister Shiha, are you also here to watch the moon? Let me go with you. I know where the best pastries are, where the best wine is, and where the moon is fullest. Just a moment ago, he was still standing there, but after a brief chat with Qian Xiao, he was gone. She looked around. He runs fast. Meanwhile, a voice called out beside her, sister. It wasn't until a moment later that Shiha seemed to come back to her senses. Qian Xiao asked with an innocent face, Sister Shiha, what are you looking at? She replied gently, nothing. From a distance, Fei Hai's panicked voice suddenly called out, you. Both of them turned to look at him at the same time. Fei Hai asked with a worried expression, where did you go for so long? I was a little worried about you, so I ran out to find you. In response to that stern questioning, Shiha could only sigh helplessly, while Qian Xiao was looking Fei Hai up and down with a judgmental expression. She asked boldly, I wonder who this warrior is? She silently judged him. On what basis is this rude person so intimate with Sister Shiha? Shiha, standing beside her, smiled and explained, my elder brother. Instantly, her attitude changed from suspicious to cheerful and enthusiastic. So it's Sister Shiha's older brother. Hello, Brother Shun. I am the seventh daughter of the Xie family, Xie Qianxiao. Her heart also felt much lighter. So it's Sister Shiha's older brother. No wonder he's so imposing. Suddenly, she made a suggestion. Brother Shun, let's go watch the moon together. She thought to herself, this way, Sister Shiha will definitely come along. In response to her enthusiasm, he just gave a cold smile and said, thank you, young lady. It's just that my sister has a weak constitution. It's late and the weather is cold. I want to take her back to the manor. He thought, don't think I can't see that your intentions are aimed at my Yu. While Qian Xiao's eyes looked worriedly at Shiha, Sister Shiha is weak. Then you should return quickly. You're not even wearing a cloak. As she was preparing to leave, Qian Xiao suddenly noticed the fallen lantern nearby. Is it your lantern on the ground, sister? It's so unique. Can you give it to me? She glanced at the lantern on the ground and thought, just in time, I had no place to throw this lantern away. She hummed in agreement to Qian Xiao's excitement. As she left, Xia still turned back to smile and wave at Qian Xiao. Qian Xiao smiled innocently and waved goodbye to her. As soon as Shiha left, She angrily threw the lantern to the ground and cursed. Lecher, how dare you covet my sister Shiha? I had my eye on this lantern just now. I felt it suited Sister Shiha very well. I want to buy it for her, but turn out some man bought it one step ahead of me. Now this lantern appears in Sister Shia's hands. It must have been a gift from that lecher. Witnessing Qian Xiao's crazy outburst, the maidservant beside her could only say awkwardly, "Seventh miss, the county princess is a woman." She retorted with a wave of her hand. Of course I know she's a woman. She doesn't even react to me. If I become her sister-in-law, will she be close friends with me? As soon as the maidservant heard that answer, it was like a thunderclap. She gasped and shouted, "Huh?" The maidservant hurriedly warned her, "Seventh miss, the heir is about to return to the northwest. If you want to marry the heir, you'll have to follow him back to the northwest and won't be able to see the county princess." Qian Xiao replied discontentedly, "That's not acceptable. I won't be with her." The maidservant beside her could only sigh deeply, not daring to say anything more. As night fell, the carriage creaked and rolled on continuously. Fei Hai rested his chin on his hand, thinking with a frighteningly serious expression. Noticing his unusual expression, she suddenly spoke up. "Brother, what are you thinking about? Why do you look so troubled?" He narrowed his eyes and replied wearily, "I'm thinking about the mastermind of the Anchi case." She also rested her chin on her hand and speculated for a moment. "Today, I was thinking we can only find clues about this matter from Prince Lai." He raised his eyebrows and glanced at her. "I'm afraid he's also waiting for us to come and ask." She smirked. "It's fine. I'll go see him." The carriage stopped in front of a round gate shaded by bamboo. The dim light reflected the tranquility of the late night. Fei Hai elegantly stepped down first, then extended his hand to help Xia, saying gently, "You be careful." Tian Yuan, standing from a distance, immediately ran over, holding a lantern in her hand, and called out hastily, "County Princess, His Highness made a lantern for you, wishing for the clear bright moon to always be by your side." Fei Hai immediately interrupted in a stern voice, "Guard Chao, men and women should not be so familiar. My sister cannot accept a lantern from His Highness the Crown Prince." Tian Yuan immediately smiled and explained, "Heir, don't worry. His Highness made 3, one for His Majesty and one for the Empress Dowager. It's not a private matter. His Highness has very few people to give gifts to. I hope the county princess will not refuse." As soon as she finished speaking, Tian Yuan immediately handed the lantern straight to Shiha. Finding it hard to refuse, she had to ask Tian Yuan to pass on a message. "Thank His Highness for me. Inside here are some pastries I made. Consider it a return gift. I'll trouble Guard Chao to deliver it to His Highness." Shiha offered a wooden box of pastries towards Tian Yuan. Fei Hai, standing beside her, couldn't help but get furious and said loudly, "Yu, those are the pastries you made for me." Before Fei Hai could snatch the pastries back, Tian Yuan placed the box on her head and ran back to the manor as fast as her legs could carry her, with an unprecedentedly smug look on her face. She thought, "If I bring these pastries back, I'll definitely be rewarded. I can't let the heir take them back." My master, His Highness, didn't have it easy either. To cover up his intentions, he had to make 2 extra ones, and one of them even got thrown away. The next day, the air was fresh, and warm sunbeams shone through the canopy of trees. The 3 of them sat together at a lavish table, sipping exquisite, fragrant tea. Truong Don praised it profusely, saying that to be invited by the heir apparent and the county princess was an overwhelming honor. Suddenly, he joked, "The county princess's tea isn't poisoned, is it?" In response to the jest, Shiha casually raised her teacup and replied, "I don't need poison to make your highness talk." Shiha then gently got straight to the point about the missing Anchi defense map. Ever since he returned from the northwest, all leads have been cut off. It's hard for people not to suspect that His Highness Prince Lai orchestrated this himself. Truong Don immediately retorted, not forgetting to provoke Shiha. "The county princess is as sharp as ever. But even if you provoke me like this, will Father Emperor believe it so easily?" She smiled calmly and replied, "Without evidence, of course His Majesty won't believe it. But have you presented the map to His Majesty yet?" He gave a faint smile and asked back, "So what if I have?" Shiha continued coldly, "Things that have been handled will more or less bear a mark. If His Majesty discovers that you had it before the news of the missing map spread, and even showed it to others beforehand." He calmly took a small bite of a pastry and said gently, "The county princess wants information about the venomous snake I found that is detrimental to the Northwest King. But if you force me, Not only will I not tell the county princess the truth, I will also report everything I know to Father Emperor. Truong Don gave a smile, directly provoking Shiha. This venomous snake might just become a tool for Father Emperor to control the Northwest. Then, that would be considered my merit. She suddenly clapped her hands disdainfully. It seems His Highness Prince Lai came prepared. He gave a faint smile. After suffering a few losses at the county princess's hands, one should be cautious. She whipped her head to the side. So, is His Highness Prince Lai planning to bet against the person behind me on whether what ultimately befalls you is merit or a crime? Looking at her face and her way of speaking, he could make a rough assessment. The person Shun Shiha relies on must be one of my brothers. It's just that I haven't figured out who it is yet. To be able to so easily resolve a matter as earth-shattering as the missing defense map, this person is definitely not simple. Truong Don shot up from his seat, his hand rapping on the wooden table as he said in a strained, loud voice, the Hushi Jadushi. After saying that, he left without a word of farewell. She turned her head back and couldn't help but sigh. So the defense map in his hands was actually taken from the Hushi Jadushi. Fei Hai, sitting beside her, immediately added, the Hushi Jadushi is Prince Ding's father-in-law, Yi Wentong's father. So the mastermind of this affair is Prince Ding. He wants to pull me down to arrange for his own people to take the throne. Shiha rested her chin on her hand, musing, if it's Prince Ding, it would be logical, but the timing is wrong. If I were him, I would wait until His Majesty is on his deathbed to act. As if guessing her thoughts, Fei Hai immediately continued. So you think someone behind the scenes is adding fuel to the fire, exposing Prince Ding's ambitions? Shiha replied frankly, that's right. That night, stars shone in the night sky. At the prince's manor, Truong Khan spoke urgently. Older brother, why did you want this Anshi defense map? Truong Don calmly asked in return, why did you place it in my hands? He was thinking, the day after talking with Shun Shiha, I suddenly remembered a detail, and from that, I figured out it was you, older brother. Truong Khan began, younger brother, is it that you both want to get close to, and yet dare not approach County Princess Xiaoning? Truong Don asked blankly, older brother, how could you? Truong Khan picked up his wine cup and slowly explained, you've fallen for her. I'm helping you. Truong Don turned his head and said bluntly, I don't need your help. Truong Khan spoke again, younger brother, take my advice. If you like her, you must go and win her over. See what she truly needs. Don't just do as you please. He closed his eyes, recalling a memory from long ago. That year, after the Gu and Sief families broke off the engagement, His Majesty wanted to take Tan Tan as a concubine. I knelt for a long time at Mingzheng Hall, begging His Majesty to grant me Tan Tan in marriage, and promised that if His Majesty did, I would be His Majesty's blade for the rest of my life. All these years, my hands have been stained with blood, but I never dared to tell Tan Tan about it, yet I couldn't accept it. I felt that I had sacrificed so much for her in secret, yet she still didn't love me. At this point, he suddenly looked down at his own, incessantly trembling hands for a long time, with a disappointed and sad expression. Truong Khan then remembered Tan Shi, do I love, hate, feel pain? I saw her being moved by me, which proves I am in her heart. But she never gave me a glance. I used to think, I've done so much, why won't she open her heart to me? It wasn't until she died that I finally woke up. In that scene, he held Tan Shi in his arms and cried out loudly, Tan Tan. Tragically, his face was filled with extreme pain. I always thought I had given my all, but it was just wishful thinking. She didn't need any of these things. What did I have to ask for her to reciprocate? At that moment, his heart clenched, each beat almost screaming in despair. As he was lost in his painful memories, Truong Don suddenly spoke up and asked him, have you forgotten her? This question almost made his heart skip a beat. He was about to sip his wine, but suddenly paused and answered frankly, I can't forget. He slowly advised, I gave the defense map to you so you could take this opportunity to understand your own heart and also not to make a mistake. I hope you can have a happiness I never had. And remember clearly, do not place your hopes in His Majesty. He agreed with me not to exterminate the Gu family, and most to just exile them. But what was the result? I couldn't protect the Gu family, couldn't protect Tan Tan, and even more, couldn't protect our child. Truong Don was silent for a long time before suddenly asking, older brother, what do you want to do? His face darkened as he thought, older brother hates Father Emperor very much. Truong Khan calmly replied, this time, By exposing old Fourth's ambitions, it would be best if we can arrange for our people to be sent to Hushi. That way, if anything happens in the Northwest in the future, we will have a way out and won't repeat the Gu family's mistakes. I want to turn the imperial family upside down, to let His Majesty taste the feeling of being controlled by others. The next day at Xiangwu Temple, the morning sun cast a brilliant golden glow everywhere. Fei Hai watched Shiha from behind, praising her admiringly. Your business is really good. Even Master Qing, the abbot of Xiangwu Temple, orders incense from you. Suddenly, she remembered something and rushed out into the courtyard, where she saw ginkgo leaves gradually falling. Looking at the scene before her, Shiha couldn't help but exclaim, "So beautiful." She smiled radiantly, revealing a stunning beauty. Even Truong Khan, who was passing by, unconsciously called out 2 words. Tang tang. Shiha was pulled away by Fei Hai. He immediately said, let's go pick some ginkgo leaves. When we get back, I'll make you a scented pillow. Shiha hurriedly followed him, not forgetting to reply, then let's pick a lot. I'll make one for you too. The 2 of them happily sat right down in the courtyard to pick up leaves. It was only then that Truong Khan realized it was County Princess Zhao. He stood from afar, watching her, and sighed. It seems that was just my illusion. Tauntaun would never act so frilly like that. Tauntaun, I miss you to the point of madness. While Truong Khan was agonizing over love, on Shiha's side, she worriedly asked Fei Hai, I'm really worried about you, brother. The Northwest is desolate. No young lady would want to marry there. If there were any, it wouldn't be your turn. You must seize the opportunity. From a distance, Miss Yuan ran straight to her aunt and said hurriedly, Aunt, the rumors outside are exaggerating that the heir of the Northwest king kills people like flies. The aunt just replied coolly, if it weren't for that, how would it ever be your turn? Even if he kills people like flies, as long as you marry into the Shun family, you will be the princess consort of the heir of the Northwest. Even dying in the Northwest would be an honor. Miss Yuan was so scared she hesitated, not daring to say more. Shiha, who had witnessed everything from behind, immediately frowned and assessed. So she's taken a fancy to my older brother's status and position, yet she looks down on his reputation. What kind of person is this? Is she even worthy of choosing my older brother? She got angry, hitched up her skirt, and cursed loudly. I have to go see what kind of beauty and talent has such confidence. As she was about to run over, Fei Hai immediately stopped her. Don't be upset. Big brother won't marry just anyone. Suddenly, a roar echoed, startling the 2 of them. A leopard aggressively emerged, to Shiha's surprise. It gently pinned a person under its paw, causing the ant to shout in annoyance. Guards, quickly, beat this beast to death for me. Kinkyo walked over from a distance and shouted loudly, Who dares? Dian Dian was a gift from His Majesty. If you dare to harm it, you are disrespecting the Emperor. The ant yelled, 7th Miss Xia, you condone this beast harming people. Even if it was a gift from His Majesty, if I kill it, His Majesty will not blame me. Kinkyo then spoke up, My Dian Dian has always been very well behaved. This isn't the first time I've brought it here. It has never harmed anyone. She reached out to stroke Dian Dian and said, For it to suddenly become violent today, it must be because of something unclean that Miss Yuan is carrying. Then she commanded Dian Dian, find it for me. Hearing this, the ant hurriedly shouted, How dare you? At this moment, Shiha and Fei Hai walked over. She spoke in a cold tone, A Buddhist temple is a place of purity. I advise you to put away your hostility to avoid bringing disaster upon yourselves. She analyzed, I'm afraid it's the scent of the sachet hanging from Miss Yuan's waist that caused the leopard to become violent. She turned to look at the ant with a cold gaze. Lady Xia, I know about fragrances. How about I take a look? The woman quickly replied, Yes, we'll have to trouble County Princess Zhao. At this moment, Shiha thought, Isn't this woman the second wife that official Qi's father yearns for, Lady Yuan, the wife of Duke Xia? So she's targeting my older brother. Then, she gently approached and sniffed the sachet on Miss Yuan. She assessed, inside is mountain otterbone powder. Lady Xia, you took Miss Yuan to the clinic for treatment and gave this sachet to the physician. A simple question will make it clear. She handed the sachet to the woman. As for whether you need to seek an explanation from Miss Xia, you can decide after you've asked clearly, Lady Xia. Everyone helped Miss Yuan up. Let's go to the clinic. Hearing this, The aunt's face filled with worry. She was also a bit contemplative. Mountain otter bone powder is an aphrodisiac. For an unmarried girl to have this in her sachet, if word got out, Miss Yuan could forget about a good marriage. Once Lady Xie finds out what otter bone is, how would she still dare to demand justice from Miss Xie Kinkyo? She turned and pointed at Kinkyo. You, come with me. How could there be otter bone powder in Miss Yuan's sachet? It must be related to Miss Xie. Kinkyo then turned to Fei Hai and said, Before I've decided I don't want you, you are not allowed to flirt with other women. I have now claimed you. In the carriage, the sound of questioning echoed. Why did you do that? Did you ever think about the consequences of your actions? Kinkyo crossed her arms and replied, She has no sense of shame. I was just granting her wish. She crossed her arms and added, Besides, there's no evidence for this matter, so she wouldn't dare to speak out. I was the one who had someone bump into Miss Yuan to make her drop the sachet. I even told the guard to disguise himself, so they won't be able to find him later. Shiha asserted, Even if they can't find evidence, they'll know for sure it was you. Even if they don't come to the Xie family to demand justice openly, they will definitely look for the Xie family's weaknesses in the dark. Kinkyo remained extremely stubborn. So what? My father is the minister of the Board of Revenue, and my granduncle is one of the heads of the 3 departments. Although the Xie family has no noble title, even the ducal and marquisal manners have to show us some respect. Sister Shiha, you don't have to worry about how my family will treat me. No matter what I do, they won't blame me. Shiha was helpless. Don't get involved in my affairs anymore. At this moment, a subordinate spoke up. We've arrived at the Xie residence, 7th Mississippi. You should get out of the carriage, Kinkyo said in a low voice. Then, Sister Shiha, until we meet again. Sitting in the carriage, Shiha watched her retreating figure and wondered greatly, why does it feel like the Xie family is so indulgent with the 7th Miss Xie? What could be the reason? Ziyu, beside her, answered, This servant knows a little. She explained, I heard that 8 years ago, the 7th Miss Xie was almost buried alive. That year, Kinkyo's brother beat to death an adopted son of a eunuch. Neither side would yield. Emperor Ning then suggested that the eldest daughter of the Xie family enter a ghost marriage with the deceased. The Xie family thought the ghost marriage was just a pretense, that she would be raised in another household. So her parents married off the 7th Miss Xie. As it turned out, that eunuch had a twisted heart and dared to hide it from the Xie family, locking Kinkyo in a nailed coffin. Fortunately, heaven had eyes. A lightning strike broke open the coffin, allowing her to climb out. Because of this incident, the Xie family has always felt ashamed towards the 7th Miss, which is why they spoil her. After listening, Shiha commented, She hasn't had it easy either. Fei Hai, at her side, spoke up. This is the so-called purity of the great clans. The scene changed. Hua Yong asked Tian Yuan, According to what you said, hasn't the 5th already met Yu? Tian Yuan replied, He probably has. However, shortly after the county princess arrived at the state temple, His Highness the prince left. He lamented, I feel that for the matter of the missing Anshi map, the 5th is the biggest suspect. Tian Yuan asked, Was it to let His Highness Prince Lai perform well in front of the county princess? He smiled and replied, That was just a side benefit. The real intention was probably to install his own people in the Northwest. But let him struggle. For His Majesty to ascend the throne, the Northwest King can be credited with 50% of the achievement. Wanting to gain an advantage from him is a vain hope. Hua Yong emphasized, but we can reveal the truth to the 4th, to let him know what the 5th is doing. As he spoke, he caught a falling leaf. That's right. Didn't Zhaoning and the heir apparent bring back a bag of ginkgo leaves to make a pillow? Order the servants to pick some ginkgo leaves and send them to the county princess's residence. Tian Yuan asked in surprise, To make a pillow? He said with a smile, Just ask how to sew the pillow, that's all. That way, it would be as if I'm sharing a pillow with Zhaoning, our breaths intertwined. The next day at the county princess's residence, Tian Yuan brought a tray of ginkgo leaves. County princess, His Highness heard that you like ginkgo leaves. Coincidentally, there's a ginkgo tree in the Eastern Palace. The leaves have fallen, so he had some brought over. After receiving them, Shiha replied, Thank His Highness for me. Ziyu took the tray. On the other side, Tian Yuan pretended to ask, I wonder how the county princess uses the ginkgo leaves? Shiha replied, I use them to sew into a pillow to aid sleep. Tian Yuan put on a delighted expression. Really? His Highness has been sleeping poorly recently. I wonder if the county princess could tell this subordinate the method? Shiha also spoke up. Ziyu, you tell guard Chow. Ziyu said with a smile. Of course. Fei Hai, beside her, grumbled resentfully. The heart of a wolf and the mind of a beast. He frowned. You look at this crown prince. He either pretends to be pitiful so you can't bear to refuse him, or he gives inexpensive gifts so you have no reason to decline. What deep scheming. Xia gave a wry smile and replied, Brother, since I already intend to form a marriage alliance, should I be distant with him? I don't need to be close to him, but we should have mutual respect. Fei Hai added, I don't think he'll be satisfied with just respect. A wolf. Xia chuckled. Whether he is satisfied or not, my attitude will always be this clear. Fei Hai added, Father has submitted his suspicions about the Anshi map to His Majesty. This morning, His Majesty dismissed the Hashi Jidushi. The court has started arguing over who will replace him. She has said softly, this is a lucrative position. The princes will likely want to install their own people. Fei Hai replied. After Prince Ding came of age, he always appeared uninterested in political affairs, but unexpectedly, he has been secretly plotting. It's just a pity that this incident has exposed his ambition. She also commented, Prince Cheng lost the battle. What is there to pity about him? The one to be pitied is Princess Consort Ding. She frowned and thought, if Prince Ding had really stayed that way, then in the future, no matter who ascended the throne, to show benevolence, his and Princess Consort Ding's glory and wealth would have been endless for this lifetime. But now, she emphasized it's a pity. The scene changed to Prince Ding's residence. When Tang looked dejected, Why did you lie to me? She was lost in countless thoughts. Grandfather forbade me from marrying into the royal family back then, afraid that I and the Yi family would be entangled in the royal court struggles. But I had long set my heart on Prince Ding, Xiao Chantai. When Xiao Chantai asked for my hand in marriage, he said he would take me far away from the struggles for power, but now. Chantai rushed over to speak with her. Wan, how have I treated you? You know it clearly in your heart this year. I am just unwilling. I am a prince, and I don't consider myself inferior to any of my brothers. Chantai spoke with an unwilling tone. If the crown prince's body were healthy, then so be it, but the crown prince sooner or later. Why can't I give a try? She replied softly. Have you thought about what lengths you must go to in order to win? Have you ever thought about what the consequences will be if you fail? She emphasized, let me tell you, if you fail, I and the entire Yi family will be buried with you. If you win, you will have to kill your own brothers, perhaps even your father. Is power that important? So important that you would pay such a painful price for it? Chandai tried to explain. Wan, things have come to this point. Even if I wanted to stop, no one would believe me. She said, crying, you never thought of stopping. She said in pain, Xiao Chantai, listen to me. I am not afraid of being buried with you. That is the price I must pay. But I will not forgive you for using my family as a tool in your struggle for power. She turned her face away. I will find someone who is willing to go through fire and water with you. I will help you take a secondary consort. If a secondary consort is not enough, I can also give up my position. He grabbed her hand, his eyes furious as he roared. Wan, am I that incompetent in your heart? Am I bound to fail? Wen Tang waved her hand away. Compared to your failure, I fear your success even more. She questioned, when your hands are stained with blood and you are cloaked in sin wearing the imperial robes, you will no longer be my husband, no longer the young man in my heart. She walked away, leaving his calls of Wan behind. Changtai angrily punched the wall. He thought, Xiao Changqing, if it weren't for Xiao Changqing plotting against me, I wouldn't have been exposed so early, and Wan wouldn't be so desperate. Xiao Changqing, I will chop you into 1,000 pieces. In the Eastern Palace, a distant voice echoed. Your Highness, His Highness Prince Ding already knows it was His Highness the Prince who did it. At this moment, Hua Yong calmly replied, let them push the fifth man to become the Hashi Jidushi. Tian Yuan then asked, you mean for His Highness the Prince? His Highness the Prince originally wanted the position of Hashi Jidushi to make it convenient for Prince Lai to scheme with the county princess later. His Highness sniffed, and he replied softly, if she doesn't want to, no one can force her. If the Northwest King could be coaxed, it wouldn't be their brother's turn. He calmly trimmed the plants, then added, let the fifth man become the Hashi Jidushi, then the fourth will hate him. More importantly, he emphasized, it will make His Majesty wary of the fifth. The more people His Majesty has to be wary of, the less he will pay attention to me. A few days later, Fei Hai spoke up. A person has been chosen for the Hashi Jidushi position. It's the maternal uncle of His Highness the Prince. He discovered a silver mine, and Emperor Ning rewarded him with the post of Hashi Jidushi based on his merits. He emphasized, it seems the matter of the Anshi map was a self-directed play by the two brothers, the prince and Prince Lai. Shiha, sitting beside him, said softly, I think someone helped from behind the scenes with the selection of the Hushi Jadushi. Even if Xiao Chongqing wanted to install his own person, he certainly wouldn't install his own maternal uncle. That would be too obvious. She asked further, Brother, do you know who will next fill the position of their uncle? He replied, It's someone His Majesty chose from the Jinwu Guard. This person must be His Majesty's confidant. She continued to ask, Then who was appointed to the vacant position in the Jinwu Guard? He asked hurriedly, Those who can enter the Jinwu Guard are all His Majesty's people. Do you think someone took the opportunity to place their own person in the Jinwu Guard? She smiled and replied, The embroidered uniform guard and the Jinwu Guard are His Majesty's right and left hands. If someone can place people in the embroidered uniform guard, why not the Jinwu Guard? He fell silent. You suspect the person behind this incident is the one who impersonated Huafu? She spoke softly, Brother, I'm going to the palace for a trip. In 2 days, it will be the Empress Dowager's birthday. I'm going to present a gift to the Empress Dowager in advance. She said shyly, and incidentally, see His Highness the Crown Prince. At the Eastern Palace, a voice rang out, Yu, County Princess, please be seated. In front of them was an incredibly lavish banquet table. Huayong smiled gleefully. I was presumptuous just now. I hope the County Princess can forgive me. After I heard the County Princess's childhood name from the heir apparent, I felt it was very fateful upon recalling it. She asked, bewildered, Fateful? He chuckled. When I was little, my childhood name was Lu Ming. Lu means longevity. It was my grandmother's wish that I could be healthy and live a long life. She also smiled lightly. I thought it meant emolument, just lots of wealth status such as contending for the Central Plains. He sipped his tea and thought with a smile, It seems that you came here today well prepared. Huayong put down his teacup. I remember the County Princess once asked me, Am I content? He said solemnly, As a prince, if I cannot succeed the throne, whoever ascends will not look kindly upon me. Although my health is not good, as long as I live for a day, I must plan for a day. She has said softly, I wonder if the Duigo Dan has any effect on your highness's health? He replied, The item the County Princess speaks of is a holy relic of the silver hair grass. I have sent people to scout for it, but have not found it. I also went to inquire about the whereabouts of the old family retainer. He continued, but I heard the Duigadan has already been taken by someone. As for who that person is, the family would not say. Huayong turned and smiled lightly. The person in this world who wants the Duigadan the most must be like me, wanting to save someone quickly. Thinking this, I will not inquire further. Whose life is not a life? I want to live. Others do too. I cannot use my private power to forcibly take it away. She had emphasized, but your highness is a monarch. He was extremely calm. As a monarch, I must love my people as my own children. If today I disregard their life and death for my own survival, on another day I will also disregard the lives of the common people for my own selfish desires. If so, it would be a blessing for the people if I do not ascend the throne. She had asked coldly, So your highness bet to lose back then? He replied, What does the County Princess mean by that? She sighed and thought, Does Xiao Huayong really not know what I'm talking about? Or is he pretending not to know? Then she said again, Your Highness, the Duigadan is in my hands. She explained further, When I obtained the Duigadan, I met a peculiar person. This person was very mysterious, pretending to be an embroidered uniform guard in front of me from beginning to end, and also a junior minister of the Grand Corps of Revision. She raised her voice and asked, Your Highness, who do you think could pull off such a transformation? He chuckled softly, then raised a hand to his mouth and replied, An ordinary person. It must be someone from the royal family. She frowned slightly and continued, That's right, it must be someone from the royal family. The Zhaoning princes are all unclear. Does your highness have any suspects? Huayong shook his head and said, I left the palace at the age of 8 and did not grow up with my brothers, so I do not understand them either. She has smiled lightly and replied, To be honest with your highness, I had the fortune of doing business with that person before, so regarding the Anshi map, I think he probably didn't know about it. Otherwise, he would have surely told me. She emphasized, but waiting until everything settled down. I then thought that he was behind a lot of the pushing. Huayong calmly asked her why. She said softly, I believe the Anshi defense map was first stolen by the Jadushi. I also believe that His Highness the Prince was behind the Anshi map affair, with the main purpose of planting his people in Hushi. She analyzed seriously. But precisely because of His Highness the Prince's brilliant idea, I think he would not be so blatant as to install his own maternal uncle as the Hushi Jadushi. So I think someone played His Highness the Prince. And that person is the strange man I met. She poured tea for him. This person is surely like your highness. She continued, not long after I learned the Anshi map was missing. They already knew about it. Otherwise, they simply would not have had time to arrange such an intricate situation. He rested his chin on his hand and deduced. The county princess is suspecting that I am the strange person you mentioned. She then stood up abruptly. Your highness, I do not like to ally with the strong. I prefer to be an enemy to the strong. When allied with the strong, if our goals differ at some point, we will turn against each other. But if we were never allied, no matter how strong the enemy is, knowing nothing, even in failure, it won't lead to losing everything. He smiled meaningfully. No, I want to ally with the county princess. I want to stand shoulder to shoulder with the county princess. She replied arrogantly, you like me? He admitted, the desire to marry you is real. The wish to stand shoulder to shoulder is real. The important thing is that regardless of whether it's for me or the county princess, we are each other's best choice. She nodded slightly and replied with a smile, you're right. You are indeed my best choice right now. Then she turned and walked away. For now does not mean forever is. He sat alone in the room. Tian Yuan came to his side and spoke, Your Highness. Does the princess's meaning imply that your identity has finally been exposed? He raised a hand to touch his face. I was careless. The last time I helped you, you resolved the rumor of the missing Anshi map. I instead exposed the fact that I knew early on that the map was missing. He also stood up and paced around the room. She suspects that I might be the person she is wary of. If I weren't, and she told me all this now, how could I let such a person exist? Tian Yuan was bewildered. The county princess wants your highness to find the person she is wary of, but that person is your highness. How does your highness plan to find yourself? He replied arrogantly, no need to act rashly. Her mind is very deep. If I search, I will surely be truly exposed, just as she is testing me. Let her suspect. Let her suspect. In short, it's good for suspicion to turn into caution. He picked up a ginkgo leaf, his eyes deep. I will let you know for now is. Forever is. 2 days later, the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet was held at Furong Courtyard. Dancers were performing. In the garden, people came and went in droves. Ziyu, beside Shiha, spoke. The Empress Dowager's birthday banquet is so lively. It took half a day to find a quiet place like this. Suddenly, from behind her, a voice drifted over. Why are you following me? Could it be that you've finally discovered this heir's handsomeness? Realize that a courtier can also bring endless joy. So, it was Tanbai speaking. Are the rumors outside your good work? Julin Ziplit Sili. What rumors? I haven't heard any rumors. Shiha, from behind, smiled gracefully and thought. The capital is about to be filled with whispers. Erbu and Chui Tanbai were caught meeting at midnight, and in their panic, they jumped into the river together. In the river, the two were entangled like seaweed. She thought further. After that, rumors about Bu Chu Lin and Chui Tanbai grew more and more numerous. Things like the Anlin County princess, personally, he saw them being lovey-dovey, and some families Ling Jun saw them hugging and cuddling. Tanbai helplessly gritted his teeth. You followed me here as soon as you saw the Ning County princess leave. What is your intention? Julin's mais li intention. The smell of jealousy is so strong. He questioned, I just want to know if you slinging mud at me was a scheme devised by the Jiaoning County princess? Chu Lin continued to act innocent. Oh my, are you worried that I'm not sincere with you? And you say you have no feelings for me, and that I'm slinging mud at you. You're more anxious than I am. Tanbai gritted his teeth, She laughed playfully. Didn't others see me follow the county princess here? She called out to his retreating figure. Junior Minister Chui, let's have a little chat. The people around will get wild ideas. It's been so boring these days. Let's be kind and give them some amusement. Then she laughed with great satisfaction. To fight with me, you're still far too inexperienced. Then she ran over to Shiha's side. Sister Shiha, I'm here. Shiha replied softly, Is there something you need from me? Chu Lin moved closer and whispered, Of course I missed you. Shiha quickly pushed her hand away, speaking flirtatiously. Do you need me to help you wipe your mouth? She suddenly jumped far away. No, I have official business. I came here to dispel His Majesty's thought that I revere the princess. I'm clinging to Chui Tanbai, so I didn't dare to look for you, afraid of causing you trouble. She explained, I am also a cautious person. On one hand, I cause a scene with Chui Tanbai. On the other, I go looking for Shun Shiha. Everything is clear. She has said softly, Speak. Chu Lin whispered softly. Didn't you tell me to keep an eye on Chui Tanbai? These past few days I've been pestering him. I discovered he has no dealings with the princes, but has a good relationship with the Pei family. Shiha was very surprised. The Pei family. She thought, the Pei family is a family of military generals. The maternal family of Prince Jing, Xiao Chang'an. After thinking, she immediately replied, thank you. Chu Lin murmured, I can finally make the beauty smile. She was helpless. You can also keep your life. She smiled and said, you can go now. If we leave for too long, it will make others suspicious. Chu Lin acted dramatic. This heir has miscalculated in the end. Shia spoke up. Tomorrow, you bring the incense I prepared to the heir. Bu Chu Lin never changes her habit of using Wanyu incense because it was her mother's sentimental habit. So I used Wanyu incense as a base and mixed it with a male fragrance. From now on, she can use it openly. Ziyu's eyes crinkled into a smile. Erbu will probably be too happy to sleep. The quiet night fell. The streets were still bustling. Fayer walked with Shiha. He commented, I didn't expect there to be a variety show after the banquet. It's really like a bustling city. Little sister, let's go over there and have a look. At this moment, Qian Xiao clung to her skirt. Sister Shiha, with me, I want to go this way. But Fayer was insistent. I want to go over there. Qian Xiao pleaded, Sister Shiha, I want to go this way. She said nothing, then gently slipped behind. Pushing Qian Xiao forward, you two go this way first, then go that way. I'm tired. I'm not interested in these things. I'll wait for you here. Qian Xiao turned away without a care. Fayad Fraunet nu Mondish. He turned and whispered to Shiha, then brother will go first. Everything will proceed according to last night's plan. You must be careful on your own. She replied, all right. She smiled faintly and thought to herself, last night I discussed with my brother and came up with a brilliant plan. The intelligence about Prince Jin secretly forging weapons, which we got from Yushaoya, now has a use. The night fell silently. As Shiha was sitting, a maid approached and said, County Princess, the fourth princess has sent this servant to invite the county princess. She had turned to reply, go back and inform the princess that my body is unwell. I cannot move. Then she thought, it's finally here, and using the fourth princess's name. When the maid heard her reply, she stammered and added, the princess ordered this servant to relay a message to the county princess. It concerns the heir. After hearing this, Shiha nodded slightly. Let's go. As she walked, she thought, 2 days ago, Prince Kong went to the weapon forgery site to investigate. I sent Mo Yuan to follow him, intentionally leaving Horseshoe Prince, to let Prince Kong realize that his tracks had been discovered by my brother and me. Sitting on the boat, she continued to ponder ceaselessly, my brothers and my power in the capital is weak. He will surely find a way to eliminate us, and today is another good opportunity. The boat docked. The maid spoke, please disembark, County Princess. The princess is waiting for you at Ziyun Tower. Ziyu helped her step down. Suddenly, as if realizing something, her eyes widened. The fragrance here is so strong. If not for my sensitive nose, I'm afraid I wouldn't have smelled the faint scent of a knockout drug here. Luckily, I was prepared. She lightly brought a handkerchief to her nose, silently saying to herself that she had prepared cotton soaked in a clarifying fragrance. The moment the thought finished, the princess's attendants collapsed to the ground. She and Ziyu looked at each other, then both pretended to fall down as well. At this moment, a sharp blade appeared before them. Ziyu's eyes flew open in surprise. Then she shot up, grabbing a knife to defend herself. The two fought for a while, evenly matched. Just then, a dart shot straight into the shoulder of the assassin holding the blade. Ziyu seized the opportunity, locked his arm, and pinned him down. She asked, who are you? Who sent you? He bit his lip tightly, determined not to confess. Then he collapsed onto the grass. At this moment, Shiha slowly sat up. Ziyu gently helped her up, County Princess. I didn't expect this man in black to have poison in his mouth. He bit the poison and killed himself. A man approached from somewhere and said, County Princess. He continued, the heir, and I have everything ready over there. My subordinate will leave this body here for now. She replied, all right, hurry up and take that man in black away. The scene changes to another location. Everyone was currently paying their respects to Emperor Yuning as Shiha and Ziyu staggered over. She said weakly, Your Majesty, someone wants to kill me to silence me. She pointed an accusing finger. It was, she affirmed, His Highness, Prince Kong. Shiha was lying on the bed, recuperating from last night's assassination attempt. The imperial physician knelt before Emperor Yuning and reporting to Your Majesty. The county princess fell into a coma due to the shock and has not awakened. Coupled with her frail constitution, her situation is now very dangerous. He frowned and instructed, all imperial physicians are to do their utmost to save Chu Ning. No mistakes will be tolerated. What exactly happened just now? Why was Chu Ning so frightened? Yu quickly replied, reporting to Your Majesty. It was Princess Chongling who invited our county princess to meet. As a result, they encountered an assassin on the way. Fortunately, this servant has practiced martial arts since childhood, protected the county princess, and killed the assassin. Before the assassin died, he did not utter a single word. But for some reason, on the way, the county princess was convinced that Prince Kong wanted to harm her. Prince Kong hurriedly defended himself. Your Majesty, the county princess must have some misunderstanding with me to mistake me for the mastermind. Faye smiled faintly. He reported, Your Majesty, I know why Prince Kong wants to harm my sister. A few days ago, my sister went to the southern mountain and discovered someone was secretly forging weapons, and she saw Prince Kong entering the mountain. Everyone was stunned to hear this, secretly forging weapons. Prince Kong shouted at this moment, Heir of the Northwest King, you are making slanderous accusations. Fei continued to explain, this matter is of great importance. I was worried my sister might have been mistaken, so I dared not report it to Your Majesty. Therefore, I sent people to keep watch. He added, young Lady Xue followed because she was worried about me. If not for young Lady Xue's timely rescue, I'm afraid my chances of survival would have been slim. Emperor Yuning raised his voice. Do you have any proof? Fei explained, I know the specific location of the weapon forgery. Your Majesty only needs to send someone to investigate to know the truth. Hearing this, the atmosphere grew heavy. His Majesty frowned and thought, Prince Kong is incompetent. The matter of secretly forging weapons has major implications. With one slip-up, more than half of the trusted forces I've secretly cultivated will be lost. He pondered, this is urgent. I must send someone to destroy the evidence first. He spoke up, Cannon, give a location to the embroidered uniform guard. I will send them to investigate. Fei immediately proposed an idea. Your Majesty, the mountains are winding and complex. It would be most appropriate for me to go with the embroidered uniform guard. His Majesty gestured to stop him. Chu Ning has no relatives in the capital. She is still in a coma. You should stay and take care of her. He bowed to accept the order. Your Majesty is wise. Then I shall stay and take care of my sister. He understood the implication. His Majesty was threatening him. Yu was still in the imperial palace, so he should not interfere. Beside them, Prince Kong thought gleefully to himself, His Majesty is surely protecting me. Once the embroidered uniform guard arrives and destroys all the evidence, I will counter-accuse the Shun siblings of slander and framing me. At this moment, a soldier rushed in frantically to reporting to Your Majesty, there is a fire in the south of the southern city. The surrounding commoners have discovered people secretly forging weapons. Prince Kong panicked. I'm doomed. Shiha, lying on her sickbed, smiled to herself. Want to destroy the evidence? Want to counter-accuse us? You'll have to see if I, Shun Shiha, agree to it. During the day, in the study of the county princess's manor, Fei spoke up. Yu, if you already knew that His Majesty would protect Prince Kong no matter what, then what was the point of our defense at the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet? Shiha replied, there are some things where His Majesty cannot simply cover the sky with one hand just because he wants to. He wanted to send his people to destroy the evidence. So I wanted to make it impossible for his people to be impartial and strict. She continued speaking, we just needed to start a fire. At that time, the commoners would come to put it out, and the city patrol's Jinwu Guard, the administrative office, and even the city guard soldiers would all be drawn over. Even if the embroidered uniform guard is cold-blooded and ruthless, with no regard for the commoners, would the Jinwu Guard, the bailiffs of the capital prefecture, and the city guard soldiers also want to silence everyone? Fei remained silent, offering no opinion. She still said, take this opportunity to let His Majesty feel what it's like to lose his own people. In the main hall, a subordinate reporting to Your Majesty, my subordinates did indeed discover a place for forging weapons deep in the southern mountains. Emperor Yuning immediately shot a look at Prince Kong. Prince Kong trembled. "Father, royal father, spare me." Before he could finish, Emperor Yuning kicked him hard. He ordered, "Lock Prince Kong in prison. Wait for the embroidered uniform guard to investigate Prince Kang's manner before deciding his crime." He turned and walked away, leaving only the sound of the prince's shrill cries. "Your Majesty, I've been wronged, Your Majesty." Night fell, and a carriage came to pick up Shiha. She sat in the carriage and spoke. "Brother, you must arrange for people at the court of the imperial clan. Watch closely who comes to see Prince Kong. I want to see if the person we suspect is ultimately His Highness the Crown Prince or His Highness Prince Jing." She thought, Emperor Ning doesn't know how much Prince Kong holds. He won't take his life for the time being. However, the person with a lot of calamus incense will definitely take this opportunity to silence Prince Kong and retrieve the things that are disadvantageous to His Majesty. Feier spoke up. "Yu, are you really all right?" Xie smiled. "I'm Fina. The imperial physician covered for me because I was already prepared. Tomorrow, I will introduce that person to you." As she spoke, she thought to herself, "Yesterday, I asked Shi Huaiwen for a type of medicine that can temporarily disrupt one's pulse. This medicine has a slight effect on the body, but not much. However, Shi Huaiwen felt that my body was weak and insisted on re-examining me tomorrow." Feier asked, "Is it that Dr. Qi?" She replied, "Yes." He looked at her pensively, making her wonder, "Brother, why are you looking at me like that?" Feier said, aggrieved, "Dr. Qi is young and has a dignified appearance." She laughed and replied, "Brother, Dr. Qi and I don't have those kind of feelings." He laughed in relief. "Is that so? It seems I was overthinking things. Don't worry about the court of the imperial clan. I will personally supervise it. I guarantee I will remember everyone who goes in." At the Eastern Palace, a voice rang out. As expected, "One cannot underestimate Yu." Those were the words of Hua Xiong. He laughed and added, "What a pity. If I had realized sooner, I would have found a reason to go to the birthday banquet to watch the show firsthand." Tian Yuan replied, "Your Highness, we should seize this opportunity." She thought to herself, Prince Kang's matter has caught His Majesty off guard. If we don't take this opportunity, when will we? He lifted his teacup and replied with a smile, "What's the rush?" His Majesty didn't punish Prince Kong immediately precisely because he wants to find the mastermind. If someone jumps out now, it would be exactly what His Majesty wants. Night fell at the prince's manor. Zhang Ying spoke. "Fifth brother, who do you think is behind Prince Kong?" Prince Kong couldn't have forged weapons for a rebellion on his own. He doesn't have that kind of ability. Zhang Qing replied, "If I said it was His Majesty, would you believe it, brother?" Hearing this, Zhang Ying was stunned. "His Majesty? Why would you think it's His Majesty? This empire belongs to him. If he wanted to forge weapons, he could do it openly and honorably." He said softly, "Currently, military power is divided into 3 parts. One part is in the hands of the king of Shunan, and one part is in the hands of His Majesty." He analyzed, "But the military power in His Majesty's hands is divided among various great generals, and behind them are the adult princes. Those who were originally loyal to His Majesty might inevitably develop other ideas." Zhang Qing continued, "Therefore, His Majesty needs an elite force that is loyal to him and has no connection to the princes. At that time, if they succeed, they will be His Majesty's sharp sword. If they fail, this group of people has an unknown origin and cannot be traced." Zhang Ying pondered, "Brother, you are truly formidable. I never thought of this point." Zhang Qing advised, "Younger brother, you should grow up." He added, "If we make a move now, we will become scapegoat pawns for His Majesty." The scene changes to Mingzheng Hall. A subordinate reported, "Reporting to Your Majesty, only the second prince, His Highness Prince Zhao, went to the court of the imperial clan to visit Prince Kong, and he did so openly." His Majesty asked, "Only Prince Zhao went? We have truly underestimated them." He mused, "It seems all of our princes have grown up, so they didn't make any rash moves. They might even know that the person behind Prince Kong is I, their royal father, and still need to pretend to be confused." Dawn gradually broke, and fallen petals covered the courtyard. Feier yawned widely. The court of the imperial clan is guarded by the embroidered uniform guard. Apart from Prince Zhao, who visited once, no one else came. Shiha replied softly, "When he was young, Prince Zhao was sent to be raised in Prince Kang's manor for a period of time. It's natural for him to go see him off, although his visit this time might not be solely due to childhood affection." She assessed, however, if the other princes make no move, then His Majesty can only pin the blame on the only person who went to see Prince Kong. Feier asked again in surprise, "Do we still need to keep watch?" Xia also replied softly, we do. He won't come for now, but he definitely will. However, brother, don't go and watch personally. Just send someone. Whether we catch him or not isn't important. If we miss this chance, I still have many others. She pushed him forward and instructed, for now, you must rest first. When you wake up, I'll make pastries for you. He replied, all right, it's a deal. When I wake up, I want to eat the pastries you makes. Xia strode towards a corridor. A voice called out from behind, County Princess. It was Ziyu's voice. She pointed towards the wall, where someone was clumsily climbing over. Young Lady Shui is climbing the wall again. This is already the 43rd time. Xia held her forehead helplessly. Invite her in. Ziyu gave a wry smile and thought to herself, this isn't the first time Shui Qianxiao has climbed the wall into the County Princess's manor. Ever since she learned that knocking on the door would get her rejected, she has always climbed the wall. Qianxiao climbed in and called out joyfully, Sister Shiha, but she only replied coldly, have you eaten breakfast? Qianxiao hurriedly answered, not yet. She then instructed Ziyu at a pair of chopsticks. Qianxiao sat down opposite her and started chatting. Sister Shiha, actually, I also prepared food for you. Outside, Dian Dian is carrying it. She wondered, why did you prepare it for me? Qianxiao said cheerfully, whatever others can do for you, Xiao Qiao can do too. Xia began to deduce, by others, does she mean His Highness the Crown Prince giving me a lunchbox? So she thinks I'm close to the Crown Prince because he gave me a lunchbox and won me over. She had tilted her head and asked softly, why do you like me so much? Qianxiao answered honestly, I like Sister Shiha from the first time I met you. Besides, Sister Shiha is the first person to ever stand up for me. She explained further, my father, mother, and brothers all despise me. My parents kept me at home to appease my grandmother, letting my brothers go out. It was clearly my cousin who pushed someone, but I had to take the blame. The victim's family threw shoes at me, splashed hot soup on me, and poured rice water over me. Hearing this, Shiha felt immense pity. She comforted her in a soft voice. Qiao Qiao, that's all in the past. Qianxiao also confided, it's all in the past. She lowered her head sadly and recounted. However, from then on, I understood. There is no one in this world to protect me. I want to become strong so that no one can bully me. At this moment, Chu Lin walked over and shouted, what gives you the right to hold my woman's hand? Ziyu hurriedly said, Erbu is looking at the two of them holding hands. Ziyu thought, although the county princess knows she is a woman, Jin Xiao doesn't. Isn't she ruining our county princess's reputation by saying that? Jin Xiao shot a sharp glance over. What did you just say? Chu Lin's voice. Let go of Zhaoning. Jin Xiao was not to be outdone. I have to let go just because you say so? The air of the king of Shunan is quite arrogant. The atmosphere at the dining table was extremely awkward. Neither of them would back down. Xia spoke up to mediate. You are all my friends. It's better to be amicable. She explained, Erbu acts on a whim and speaks without thinking. Jin Xiao, please don't take it to heart. Jin Xiao's eyes widened with joy. Friends? Am I also a friend? Xia immediately replied, yes. Jin Xiao beamed. Then can I come and visit Sister Xia often? Chu Lin quickly interjected. Sister Xia's body is frail. If you come every day, where will she find the energy to entertain you? Like me, if I don't have official business, I only come once a week at most. Jin Xiao asked back, so, do you have official business today? Chu Lin smiled and said, today I came specifically to thank Sister Xia for making incense for me. That incense works very well for me. Jin Xiao rushed over. Sister Xia, you said we are all your friends. If we are all friends, you can't treat us differently. Xia replied softly, I will make some for you another day. Jin Xiao was overjoyed. Thank you, Sister Xia. Only after they left did she let out a sigh. Those two have finally left. It was truly a headache-inducing noise. At this moment, a voice came from behind. County Princess, Dr. Qi has arrived. Ziyu walked in with Yunhui. She has said, Dr. Qi seems to be in a very good mood today. Yunhui sat down and spoke. I encountered something that let me vent my anger, and it's also somewhat related to the County Princess. The young lady of the Yuan family was injured at Xianghua Temple. The Yuan family heard of my reputation from somewhere and begged me to examine her, so I want to take a look. As a result, I unintentionally overheard something at the Yuan residence. He added, the young lady of the Yuan family is actually the daughter of Duke Xie's wife, Lady Yuan, and her former husband. After her husband passed away, Lady Yuan discovered she was pregnant. To avoid being confined by her husband's family, she concealed it, but she couldn't bring herself to abort the child, so she gave birth to the young Lady Yuan. She was still listening intently. He continued to explain. She wants to marry her daughter off to the Northwest, not for wealth and glory, but because her former husband's brother is being transferred back to the capital this year. The young Lady Yuan resembles her former husband these years. She has repeatedly used the excuse of not wanting to run into her former in-laws. So Duke Xie suppressed the merits of her former husband's brother to prevent them from returning to the capital. She gave a faint smile. Your esteemed father and his new wife are truly a match made in heaven. She mused, to abandon kinship for personal gain. Fair suddenly walked in, scratching his head. Yu, Dr. Qi is here? She quickly introduced them. Dr. Qi, this is my elder brother. He cupped his hands and smiled. Just call me Feier. Yunhuai replied. I have long heard of Brother Feier's reputation. Then Yunhuai seemed to remember something. That's right. Then he took out a prescription. I have a prescription here. Applying it can stop bleeding. Perhaps Brother Feier will find it useful. Feier asked back. Applying it can stop bleeding immediately? He reached out to take it, smiling as he replied. Then that's very much needed. On behalf of the Northwest, Feier thanks you, Brother Qi. Shih, at the side, took the prescription and read, pine resin, musk, beeswax. She suddenly paused, pondering over one ingredient. Dragon bone? This prescription requires dragon bone? Yunhua explained, I just happened to learn that adding dragon bone to the medicine can stop bleeding very well. It's just impossible to find. She replied, there are dragon bones in the Northwest. It just so happens that Erbu owes me a favor. I can ask him for help. She smiled thoughtfully. Dragon bones are often found in the Ju Hills. Doesn't Hua Fuhai need the Northwest market? Let him go collect them. The sky had changed color. Yunhuai spoke up. If the county princess's body is fine and it's getting late, Yunhuai will take his leave first. Feier commented, Dr. Qi is a good person. I wonder which family's young lady will be fortunate enough to marry him in the future. Hearing this, she had joked, is my dear brother regretting not having another younger sister? Otherwise, you could fulfill your wish of making Dr. Qi your brother-in-law. Feier also smiled happily. In this lifetime, my dear brother only needs you. I will give you an elder brother's love and protection. She replied softly, Yu also only has you as my big brother. Night fell. The moon hung high at the county princess's manor. Mo Yuan knelt before the two and reported respectfully, County Princess, this evening, County Princess Shun Ningruo went to the court of the imperial clan to visit Prince Kong. Hearing this, Shiha continued to eat calmly. Feier, however, said, Shun Ningruo is Prince Kang's maternal niece. It's normal for her to pay a visit. Shiha put down her chopsticks and continued, but the timing of her visit is not right. Then she instructed Mo Yuan, go investigate if Shun Ningruo is close to any of the princes. Shiha thought to herself, Prince Kong has been in prison for a night. Everyone knows this. If Shun Ningruo was simply visiting, she should have gone earlier. After all, Prince Zhao already visited last night. Shiha speculated. Shun Ningruo going now seems more like she was prompted by someone. At this moment, Ziyu came in from outside to report. County Princess, just now, Prince Ding, Xiao Changtai, confessed his guilt to His Majesty. Hearing this, Feier shot up in shock and asked, what? Prince Ding actually helped His Majesty cover up the crime of secretly forging weapons? Ziyu confirmed. That's right, but His Majesty only charged him with the crime of insubordination, demoted him to a commoner, and sentenced him to guard the imperial tombs. Xia laughed, her tone mocking. Humph, what a clever way to break a deadlock. Prince Ding will stop at nothing to flatter the emperor. At this time, in the Eastern Palace, Hua Yong sat before a go board, playing as he asked, hiding his talents and waiting for the right moment. For fourth brother to make such a decision, I really underestimated this brother of mine. Then he propped up his chin sulkily, but with one person gone, there's one less person to take the blame later. I'm afraid Yu will figure me out even more easily. Tian Yuan stood beside him and hesitated. Your Highness, regarding Prince Kang's side. She thought it would be a fierce struggle between dragons and tigers, but unexpectedly, Prince Ding flew in and ended the matter. Now we can't go see Prince Kong either. Hua Yong understood her meaning, shook his head, and explained, His Majesty acts cautiously. He doesn't know the origin or who is responsible for organizing the private army. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left Prince Kong in the court of the imperial clan and even allowed people to visit. His tone became serious. For His Majesty to be able to take from a national treasury to forge weapons and organize a private army, the Minister of Revenue cannot be unaware. Therefore, the Minister of Revenue must be His Majesty's confidant. We must find a way to replace the Minister of Revenue, Dong Bichuan. With that, he placed the go piece in his hand down and gave an order. It's time for Chiu Liang to make an appearance. Tell everyone to observe closely. We must get a hold of Dong Bichuan's tail. Tian Yuan accepted the order, bowed, and left. A few days later at the county princess's manor, outside in the courtyard, Shiha was sitting and enjoying tea. She recalled, yesterday, Prince Kong was interrogated, everyone in Prince Kang's manor was demoted, and Prince Ding also set off for the imperial tombs. Chu Lin suddenly sighed again. Shiha looked at Chu Lin, puzzled. Why are you so troubled? She replied dejectedly, My father sent a letter. This year, the military funds have been tampered with, medical supplies and relief aid have been cut, and the food and fabrics are all of poor quality. This also happened last year, but it's all an unwritten rule. Everyone knows it in their hearts and doesn't make things